Hey, everybody.
Hey,
Hey, Tony.
what's up, my friend?
Oh, hey, I've just been here like adding all of my tweets and links to everybody, and I didn't think anyone was watching yet, but we got Rune Skies, we got Kenny Brunson, we got and I've sent a link to someone else. If anyone else wants to join, it's a party tonight. This is like our pre-Christmas Feliz Navidad awesome party that we're having right now. You like this little this little button right here I got?
Yeah,
That's that's an early Christmas present for my,
I,
my
I,
kid.
I, and your nipple is hard, so I think it's
I get excited when I talk about Hex.
hex, I
I
guess.
can't I can't contain myself, I get so excited.
So I wanted to give a shout out to your brother. I met your brother in DC.
Yeah,
Your brother B Dog.
yeah, yeah. B
Yeah,
Dog.
yeah, he was cool. He was cool. He was cool. Um, I'm hoping I see him more. We didn't get the chance to like really like sit and talk. There was a lot going
Mhm.
on. It was at the workshop, and he had a guest with him and whatnot. So I understand. But yeah,
Yeah,
he kind of looks like you.
yeah. Hey, I got to talk about an experience I had tonight. So earlier tonight, you called me
Yeah.
and I'm always happy to hear from you, but I was in the middle of helping someone onboard,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
So I walked someone through onboarding tonight. The fees were nice and cheap. I mean, comparatively cheap, right? Um, and we were just, coming up with a strategy with some ladders. I was walking them through stuff. Most of the time was spent dealing with Coinbase, right?
Hmm.
Because I don't think he'd ever tried to take actual possession of his keys before into a wallet. He'd had them all on custodial stuff, and he's been in crypto for years,
Hmm.
right? And so we spent most of the time dealing with that, but we got him all locked up, and I just started getting so excited for him because we were watching. We went on uh, stakehex.today, and I said, these are some estimates on what these might be worth in the next, 5, 10, 15 years. And, him and his wife were both kind of looking at each other like, yeah, okay, like whatever, right? Because they don't make sense.
Right.
And I just started getting so excited. And I remember feeling this way every time I onboard someone. It's like 2 years ago, the first people was onboarding were coworkers and my siblings.
Right.
And I feel just as excited today as I did 2 years ago. But I think I'm more excited today because I've seen the awesome changes in these people's lives, and how much Hex has improved and gone up, and the interest that I've seen in my own. It just I can't put it into words how excited I am for them. And they're looking at me like, this guy's really well, his nipples are hard. Look how excited he is in our living room. But no, they're like, and I'm like, you guys don't get it, but in 3 months or
Yeah.
6 months, you're gonna be calling me and be like, hey, we sold our four-wheeler. Hey, I'm gonna live without one foot. Is that okay? Like, they're just gonna sell everything because they haven't seen the double, the triple, the quadruple that these other people have seen. And it blows your mind. Because
I
like I
was
was telling, what's that?
No, I was listening to. It's kind of funny that you said there people are aping in, right,
Hmm.
into the sacrifice pulse and also hex. Now that you see the price is pumping up, everybody's like attitude changed all of a sudden, right? So um it's funny. I was hearing crypto heartbeat and crypto Vince, they were on, and I think he was saying that he sold his violins and his violas to like ape into hex back in the day. And so yeah, like you were saying, getting rid of their motorcycles and boats and whatever to kind of like get into this.
Yeah, and that's what I was explaining to my friend. My friend, he's been in it for a little bit. He hasn't gotten his first pump either.
Hmm.
And in fact, I don't know, he might have bought some of his at 40 cents. So he's kind of like white knuckling it for
Yeah,
his first dip. But I said,
yeah,
you know, a lot of people have experienced going to a casino and watching $2 turn into 2,000. Like a lot of people have like hit a jackpot at a casino, or maybe they did a scratch ticket and they got $500 they weren't really expecting,
right.
and it's great. But no one's experienced that multiple times at home from their computer, or sitting in traffic checking their phone or playing on their phone at work. Like people aren't used to this insane, like, because it just doesn't feel real at
Yeah,
first.
yeah,
The first time it happens, or first couple times, you're like, you don't really trust it because it's not a
yeah,
normal experience for you.
right.
And
And
so,
yeah, that you know that's funny because like that's what I tell people. Look, you got to put in what you can lose, right?
right.
And be conservative. And you're not going to put your mortgage money in here expecting a pump up. The trader mentality is very fervent, and I'm not about trading. Like that whole trading mentality, like, oh my god, pump up. You're like, it's like they're in the dog races or the horse races, and like, come on, you know. It's,
Right, right. Usually, when we get a hit of adrenaline and dopamine,
uh-huh.
it's something that's short lived, and it's something that we don't experience that often.
Yeah,
And you know, you listen to people like Johnny Chaos talk about, like, yeah, we've been through this dip 9 times or ten
yeah,
times, but we've also been through these pumps and these doubles and these these 11 doubles,
right,
right? And you kind of have to get used to it,
right.
or it's like trying to get into like really freezing cold water. Like at first it's like it takes time to condition yourself or just get used to what's going on, the volatility and the interest.
Talking about going into cold water, that there's these people. I don't know. It's up in Norwegian or Sweden, way up north. They're in
Mhm,
these igloos, right? And they have these
mhm,
like really steam baths, like sauna baths,
mhm.
and they'll run out, in their underwear and go right into the freezing cold water, right? And dip in it,
Right.
and like, ah! That's how it feels like being in crypto.
Yeah, it's too much. It's sensory overload,
Yeah, it
right?
is.
Because
It
we're at
is.
the bottom. We're close to a ski resort where I live,
Right. Yeah.
and my wife used to go up there and clean condos at the ski resort. So she would have access to the hot tubs and stuff like that. So we go up on the weekend or at night, and we'd get in the hot tub, and then we'd open the door and jump into a bank of snow, which isn't as bad as water because, you know, it melts and it's kind of insulated, but
Right.
it would burn. Like the sensation wasn't cold, the sensation was fire.
Nice.
And then you would jump back in the hot tub and your skin would just go numb. It wouldn't feel hot, it would feel numb. So it's sensory overload,
Do
right?
you want to tell people about your Hex Flex this weekend?
This weekend?
Yeah, this weekend about your Hex Flex. What's going on this weekend?
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. We're going on vacation. The family's
Good.
going on vacation to warmer weather.
Yeah.
We're going to enjoy California and let the kids run around in Disneyland and California
I'm going
Adventure.
to Disneyland.
Right, right. We're going to Disneyland
Do
the
you
week
remember
before
that song?
Christmas. No, I just remember people saying that when they won the Super Bowl. Those old Super Bowl commercials where they're
Right.
like,
Yeah.
I'm going to Disneyland.
Yeah. I won the Super Bowl. I'm going to Disneyland, man.
Good times.
That's good. I'm glad you're taking your whole family, dude. You guys deserve it. It was well
Thanks.
deserved.
Thanks. And
Yeah.
my head's been exploding talking about all the stuff that is on the horizon.
right?
for Hex. Like, I mean, we're talking about
The
the grayscale,
doubling.
right?
Yes.
Grayscale that they're trying to get together in the next 2 or 3 months. That blows my mind. Pulse launching blows my mind.
Yeah.
Whatever Richard Hart and Kinetics were talking about at minute mark 17, I
Yes.
don't understand it, and I'm still very, very excited.
Can we get
Right?
David Fetter to explain it to us?
I would love to, but I'm not going to be in town this week. So if you want to take over the Tech Talk Sunday afternoon, by all
Yeah,
means, host it on Freedom TV
sure.
and see if David Feeder will come over and explain the it was a bot that fixes the ratios of coins on the new chain.
Right.
And just that concept alone takes me a while to figure out. But
To
it
wrap
was
your head
several,
around, right?
yeah, it was 3 concepts deep from that one concept that is already like, okay, so there's a bot. Let me wrap my head around a bot. Okay, I got my head around a bot. A bot is a code that goes and does things. Great. Okay, now what's the bot doing? All right, well, the bot is going to change the ratio of the peg of one coin against another. Oh, that's interesting. I'm not sure how that's done, but I kind of get the idea of it, right?
So I have an analogy about what they were talking about. I don't know the whole background of it and
Mm-hmm.
how it all works, but so I'm just going to give an analogy of what my understanding it is. So it's just an analogy. So think about like Ethereum is the old phone, right? That you have a cord, right? The not the cordless one, the actual you had to have it in the wall and plugged in the wall, and it's your old landline, right? And so because that's proof of work, right? Because it's tethered to a hardware, right? So, Pulse is proof of work. It's a proof of work network, which is the wireless network, which we all know, right? That's why you have to have cell phone towers or validators to keep the network going, right? Because you need every time there's a signal or a signal for a transaction to happen. That's why you have the gas fees, right? Um, and that goes to the validators, and that goes to get pay them or reward them. That's why when you stake with a validator, you get something, a reward. So now the pulse swap part is there's got to be a router, right? So or a bridge between the landline, right, to the wireless network, right? So there's got to be a bridge between that because there's a signal from analog to digital, right? So that's the pulse swap bridge between Ethereum and Pulse, right? That's how I'm wrapping my head around it. And this whole thing about the bot is because there's got to be a language behind that, or I don't know, code, or going from analog to digital to pretty much balance out the equation so that things are working properly. So that's what I feel. These are all the things that behind the scenes that things are working, right? Is working out. So things are getting really cool because version 2 is out. That means that you can actually stake your version 2 coins if you want to. I mean,
Yeah, I've done it.
oh, you have?
Yeah, I
Nice.
pulled up the test net and I used Uniswap on the
Yeah.
test net,
Yep.
and it was almost instant, free, basically
Yeah.
free.
Yeah.
And then I staked it or delegated it on testnet, and it was basically free too. And I was just like, it was, it was like, it was like going back in time to the beginning of Hex.
Wow. Hmm. Hmm.
It was like it made me just like it was like like a time machine, and I was like,
Right.
I remember what it was like not to get extorted to lock up my coins, unlock my coins, and move my coins. just the idea, and then just doing that and thinking, okay, when this goes live,
Yeah.
besides getting 2 coins, what's to keep the price of those coins down? Like I
Well,
think we're gonna have just a buying frenzy of all 3 tokens right
yeah,
away.
because there's like last thing I checked was I think there's like 30 or 40 different dApps that are getting built on Pulse, and Pulse is not even out. Pulse is not even out. It's like wow, really? You know? It's like weird. It's like announcing, yeah, Sega's coming out. It's the new console, and there's already 40 games that are going to be built on top of it, right? That's how I
Right,
see it in my
right.
analogy, right?
And we're not supposed to have any expectation of the work of others,
Right.
but logically, in the back of your head, you got to say everything's going to get better. The
Yeah.
wallets are going to get better. The exchanges are going to get better. The fiat on ramp and off ramps are going to get better.
Mhm.
Like everything's going to get better. Staker app's going to get better. Everything's just like it's it's the it's just sitting at the giving tree and just all these presents just keep falling out of the tree. I
So
love it.
I was talking to Kareem, because if anybody doesn't know, he now works for Staker app, right? He's part of that team. And so he's saying that version 2 that's going to come out, that I don't know when it's going to come out, is going to be pretty sweet because obviously they need to have, the whole toggle between Ethereum and network and the Pulse network. And they're coming out with some sweet, even new security features, where they're read-only features, which is really cool. So yeah, go to a network, go to a tour and a workshop that's on the tour for Freedom TV and Crypto Bravo. And Kareem is on the tour right now, and they're in Orlando, so get educated. They know their stuff. So
Right. And I think I heard something else about if you're able to prove your identity, then you'll be able to get back into your wallet or prove something besides the seed phrase, where it wouldn't be like you lose your 12 words and the whole world is over. It was almost like another backup or another way to recover some wallets that they're working on because,
yeah,
you
so
know,
I heard that. Well, first of all, you know how MetaMask, you can actually click in it and you can retrieve your 12 words if you can log in. However, Staker app is not going to have that feature. However, because it's tied to your email address. So if there's going to be like if they can validate that's you, and they can validate that's you as you, and through your email, they could probably send you your seed phrase. But that was in the talks, so we don't know if that's going to be there or not.
yeah, I'm looking forward to stuff being as easy as Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, PayPal, Venmo, where people are tapping a couple buttons with their thumb, swiping left, swiping right,
Mhm.
and you know, locking and unlocking and providing liquidity and providing um, collateralization for loans or taking loans.
Yep.
Like there's so much cool stuff that once the front end is built, once the UI experience is there,
Mhm.
it's just the masses will just pour in because where are you going to get these returns
Uh,
besides Hex?
uh, Dogecoin. That's where you're going to get the returns. Hmm.
That's yeah,
I'm
definitely,
chilling
definitely.
Dogecoin. I'm not. I
Yeah,
uh, no, it's pretty exciting. I tell a lot of people, like all my peeps that are following me, I'm telling them, yeah, go ahead and like just roll over all your other crap coins into Hex, especially that we had this nice dip, another positive entry, right? I onboarded a lot more people on this dip. So, because they can get the mad gains, that's when I start onboarding people. Like I'm a madman. I'm like, I gotta onboard you. I don't care if I have to give you hex so you can understand.
Well, and
Um,
and and tonight the Uniswap fees were like $70 to go
yeah, it was
fast,
pretty nice. It was pretty
and
nice.
and the staking fees were like 27, $30. And I was like, I never thought I would be relieved to see a $30 fee, but here we are where it's like, cool, you don't have to blow as much Ethereum to get this set up. So I was
Yeah,
really happy for the guy.
I've noticed Ethereum's gone down, right? Ethereum's price has really dipped in a couple of days. Yeah, well, it's at 3,900, but it had a dip. Pretty good dip.
Right. And as long as everything's correlated to the price of Bitcoin, what are people going to do? I
Yeah,
mean, the whole entire altcoins, they follow Bitcoin and so you got Bitcoin and then Ethereum lags a little bit behind and then the coins lag a little bit behind.
right.
Almost like a 550 and 500 moving average on a chart, the way they kind of like follow each other, you know.
Yeah. It's funny because do you know who Graham Stefan is?
Yeah,
Like
I've watched a bunch of his YouTube. He's an entertaining dude.
he is. He lives here in Vegas now.
No, you know what? There's like 3 YouTubers that I've watched, and they're not crypto influencers per
No,
se.
he made his
But
money in real estate,
yeah,
and he was in that it was in Netflix. It's called Selling Sunset. He had like a little cameo on there. And
okay,
so and that's how he got pretty famous, I guess. And now he has got like 3 million uh followers, and he's a very conservative guy, right? I mean, he made his money on in real estate. He was a realtor, sold a shitload of real estate in LA area, and then now he's touting legacy, and barely he started talking about crypto. And
hmm
it's funny because I was looking at his last video, and he was talking about how the best two coins to get into is Bitcoin and Ethereum, you know and
right. Well, it's what a lot of people consider the blue chips,
right, and to
which
like DCA and onto those. And
yeah, and Dave Seeley in the comments is asking, what do you guys think Ethereum will do in the future, up, down, or sideways? And I think it's going to do whatever Bitcoin does. I
yeah,
mean,
they're tied together.
they're tied together because those are the two big. I mean, more people trade Ethereum for Bitcoin than they do for anything else between those two
Mhm.
pairs. Like they're not tied to the USDC
Right,
that much. They are more than they were before, but they're tied together. You know.
right. I mean, that's why I feel we're in this. I don't know. It's because it's it's crypto is very different than legacy. Uh, Even though it feels the same, acts the same, but behind the scenes, if you really look at the technology behind it, right, it doesn't have the same, because if you come from the stock market industry, you're looking at the PE ratio, you're looking at market cap, you're looking at profits, quarterly profits, and the health of a company, right? Like who's the CEO, who's the management team, that kind of thing. In crypto, you can't look at those things. It's not the same metrics, right? You got to look at, really, what you got to look is who the founder is, right? Like, are they absolutely, there's got to be like who's the developer staff, is it been audited, do they have a white paper, and You got to really read the white paper and how it's going to function. And are they going to deliver on that white paper? Because it's a technology, it's a protocol. And so is that protocol going to do what it's going to do? And if it fails to do what it's going to do, it's going to get rug pulled, right? It's just going to be a massive failure. So, that's why you got to choose wisely, my friends. Choose
Yeah.
wisely. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that more than anything, you look at the founder when it comes to crypto. It's the founder is founder. Well, actually, let me change that. I think you look at the community first, and then you look at the founder,
Mhm. Ooh,
because
yeah. Sorry, I got to get a shout out to my bro, Luis Hex. He's my brother. I mean, my real brother. Sorry. I
yo, shout out to Lewis Hex in the comments.
yes.
So like I said, in crypto, it's all speculation. And
Mhm,
here's a question that a lot of people that weren't here for the last 5 or 7 years don't understand is that when Ethereum launched, it had some VCs and it had some genius nerds like Vitalik.
mhm,
There were, as far as I could tell, there wasn't one businessman in the whole group at all. You know, there's no one that's ran a successful business or started a successful business in crypto. Really, it was like Dan Larimer getting lucky time and time again, but not really a businessman. Charles Hoskinson couldn't run a crack house in South Central and make money. Like he's an academia nerd as deep as nerds go, right? And then you got Vitalik. And the
yeah,
problem was a lot of people saw these guys become like insanely rich,
yeah,
and they attributed that to like that they knew something about money or business, but they were
right,
just insanely lucky. They're at the right place at the right time with the right skill set.
right,
And here you have, Richard, who was a very successful in his own right before he even got into crypto,
right,
right? Someone that understands, okay, well, there's customers and there's products, and if people don't want something, they're not going to buy it if it doesn't do something for them. So
mhm,
you had nerds and speculators, degenerate gamblers in crypto. And I gambling is what brought me into crypto. I was a speculator when I learned about Bitcoin and when I started trying to flip it on Satoshi Dice. And I mean, granted, I liked the freedom aspect of it. I thought, okay, yeah, we can route around the banks and the governments, hopefully, which unfortunately that hasn't happened. But those were kind of like what brought me into it. And then as I stuck around and chased this coin or chased that coin, I started being like, okay, which one of these things does something special? Which one of these is used for anything,
mhm.
right? And until Hex came along, Hex gave us the ability to monetize time. To be like, you
Yeah,
know what, I'm going to sell you a year of my life in
yeah.
in the aspect of me being able to buy or sell this coin.
And 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 me being a long time in crypto, there was other projects that wanted to do that, like, or touted that they're going to value of time, right? You stake it, you lock up your coins now for a massive game later. That was nothing new. That was not the innovation about Hex. That I want to let people know about that. The innovation of Hex was the T shares. That mechanism is what set it apart. Not only that, I would say T shares is the one thing, the major factor. The second one is the actual code, like the actual game theory, which was, you can end stake anytime you want. You want your coins? Great. But there's going to be a penalty for those coins, right? To unstake. That game theory too is what rewards good behavior and and penalizes bad behavior, right? And so it's an incentive game theory that that makes what stabilizes hex, That's why you don't like if you talk to a real Hexican that understands how those mechanisms works, you know, you see a 85, 90, even a 90% drop in price. I don't care. I and it's normal. That's the normal thing of crypto. If you can't go through those swings, you're yeah, you got to get out of of cryptocurrency because I mean, there's been other ones that it's like a boop boop. It's like up and down, and then there's like a boop. It's like that
Flat
coin is
lines.
dead. It's like
Yeah, it,
dead.
it definitely doesn't have a pulse.
Right.
Right.
So
We have a celebrity, a hex celebrity in the comments. We have Bit Finesse here.
mm,
I'm going to get to Renob's comments really quick. He says, I worked for a bank, home builder, in Circuit City. Nothing in the past matters, lol. And then he says relatable. So I'm not quite sure what that means.
well, because
But,
all of those companies are dead. Circuit City's
oh,
not around.
yeah.
Woolworth is not around anymore. Um, you
Yeah, he
know,
says online liquidation company Lumber Blumber. Do you know what Lumber Blumber means?
I don't know that one.
We're just gonna have to bring him on. And then he says invest in something like Hexa outperforms most businesses, and that's a really good
That's true.
point. When I was talking to Valiant Brand, he's got these older brothers, and they've got friends that are older than him. They're in their 20s and 30s, and he says, they're all starting their own. They're very entrepreneurial minded, and he's like, that's great. And he says, I encourage them to do all these things that they want to do. But he says, don't forget to lock up a little hex along the way, because he knows as well as I and or believe, that hex is going to outperform all their time, all their effort, all their sweat by quite a bit. And they're going to look at it and go, all I did was lock it up and leave it alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll blow your mind. Like Johnny Chaos talks about that a lot too. He talks about the things he did in his special effects company, how
Oh,
hard he had to work to turn to 1x, 2x, or 3x product and materials to make it a product that people wanted. And then he's like, I've made so much money, more money in interest by doing nothing than I did really like killing myself at something I'm passionate about, which is insane. Now Bitfinesse says the most devious confuse users with complexity to submit you into garbage, obscurity via complexity. Remember, users don't have to pick between dumb and evil. They yield the same results. And a fist pound at you too.
yeah,
I'm gonna
I'm
I'm
too.
yeah, I'm gonna I don't know where he's at in the world tonight. Like I said, he's so much more motivated than I am. He's out there grinding. I don't think he has to grind. I think that he's just awesome, right?
Yeah.
But he's out there stacking and pursuing, hex and getting ready for the pulse and all this stuff, like just hungry like a wolf, you know. So I'm gonna send him the link in case he has the ability to join us.
Hopefully.
There he is. Yeah, I'm gonna DM him the link. So, anyways, yeah, my head's just swimming in all this excitement
So
because the
yeah,
eye of the storm is gonna pass us pretty soon.
yeah, yes. So when you say the Ida storm is pretty much we got the swap sacrifice. Whew. And if you look, so what I'm seeing, if you look at the other swaps coins, I mean, if you want a short-term pump up, definitely sacrifice on the swap because, I mean, look at Pancake, Sushi Swap. Um, right out the gate, it made some mad gains. I think it's going to do the same thing for Pulse because if Pulse is that popular and Swap is the bridge from Ethereum to Pulse, of course it's going to have mad gains. So that's how the cookie crumbles. I mean, let's look at it. Let me see here. I'm gonna go to nomics real quick. Or I don't know. We'll see. Pancake swap here.
Yeah, and Renov's talking more about the lumber blumber. He says
Yeah,
where it's overpriced wood because, and he says Bitfinesse knows, but he's saying they would hold the wood at the port while the prices were going crazy during the C word, and you know, all these people are paying some insane amount for the wood,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And then they would just mark up their material 300%.
Percent. Yeah. Yeah, well, I know a little bit about that. Well, actually, my brother Lewis, he's probably around. Hopefully, he can tell you a little bit. He was in. We actually had he did. It was called Starwood Lumber Products. We were making bank back in the early 2000s, all the way to 2010. We were gathering, uh, you know, lumber, like pieced lumber, chopped up the lumber, and actually making. Um, we were repurposing it and cutting it up and taking out the nails from the construction yards or construction companies and converting it to other lumber products like roof battens, shims, kickers, stake engineering stakes. So, anyways, it was yeah, like this last haul, like the supply chain, people has been really, especially in the construction side, the supply chain, they've been because of COVID and all that crap, whatever. Um, yeah, people have been gatekeeping supply. Now, if we're a smart bunch or a community, that's going to be interesting because if you understand all the sacrificers are going to have this is going to hold the supply. And if we're holding the supply, right? We're the supply holders. So all of the buyers are going to have to go to the sacrificers for supply to actually buy. So if we gatekeep that, we can run up the price 300%, 400%, maybe 1,000%.
Yeah,
Right?
it goes right back to Richard Hart's analogy of the De Beers,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So the De Beers just controlled supply, and they didn't even control all the supply,
No.
and they didn't even control it forever.
Yeah.
And look what
So
they did to the price of diamonds.
yeah.
I pasted the invitation in the chat, so if someone wants to, I mean, obviously I sent it to Fit Finesse first because he's my hero, but yeah, I put it there if you guys want to jump on.
Yeah.
This is a good night to just hang and just rant about cool stuff like Hex. And Renov says those copper window roof guards during 2008 stolen. LOL.
So
And
my
and
brother remembers
and
because we have
Lewis,
right.
yeah, he says wood stakes for concrete companies, wood battens for roofing companies, and you guys understand a lot about the supply chain because how much would it cost someone to send all that material back east or overseas and have someone do the same thing that you guys were doing on the ground and taking advantage of just the cost of transportation, right?
A lot. We still do
And
that. I mean,
convenience.
when me and my brother had our recycling company, yeah, that's what we would do. Like, we were a construction cleanup company and a recycling company. So they would hire us to actually pick up the garbage, the debris from construction sites, and then we would take it back to our yard, rearrange it, right? Or repackage it in a way, and then sell it back to to the subcontractors for, well, you know, especially like woods, and that's what my brother's saying, wood stakes and for concrete companies and wood battens for roofing companies. So I mean, we would charge free delivery because it was, you know, the raw material was free. Actually, we would make money of picking up the raw material.
Yeah,
So
and can you speak to the philosophy of win-win? Because here you
absolutely,
guys were already there doing a service.
we're already
You're
there doing
getting
a
the
service.
material for cheap or free,
Hmm.
or paid in some cases to haul it away.
Hmm.
You're repurposing it and
Yep.
make it convenient and affordable. So
For
there was an incentive on both sides of this deal,
yep.
right?
And if Fortune 500 companies, you know, even knew how to do that and pull their head up their ass, their profit margins would skyrocket. Instead of laying off people, you would grow. You have a whole new division. You know, that's where it's, I think I was, we, you know, me and my brother were savvy. We were pretty much ahead of our time on how things worked. So, um, you know, now that's why, you know, we sold our company and we're better for it, right? So we're on to the next project, which is Hex, and promoting, and Freedom TV and promoting that and being marketers. Um, I don't know if I should say it here, but we're actually wanting to do a wealth academy to, you know, creating a wealth academy to bring knowledge and education of our experience, you know, to the Hex and Pulse community. Because if you're going to have mad gains, you're going to need a support system, right? To, you know, handle that responsibility. I feel if you're, you know, this is a gift that you've been giving. If you're a OG Hexican or even an OG Pulsican, and even an OG Swapakin, right? I don't know where you want to call it.
And I
Um,
guess they'd be Hexicans, right? Because
Hexicans
it's gonna be
or
Pulse
Dex.
X.
Oh,
So the people running the Pulse swap coin or
yeah,
exchange coin could just be called Hexicans.
Hexicans.
Yeah, just
Okay,
Hexicans.
so if that's the case, you know, there's a responsibility. I feel. I mean, if you read between the lines what Richard Hart's saying, I mean, hello, he wrote a self help book, and if you read that self help book, it's a call. It's a call to make your world a better place, right? So why don't you, like, if you're a fanatic of Richard Hart, he's telling you what to do. You know what I mean? So you got to start educating yourself and positioning yourself now for the future to be responsible with that value that you're going to be handed to. Like Richard Hart's handing you, right? This power called Hex and Pulse X, or Swap coin, and even others that are going to come down the road. Um, you know, I think it's a gift, and with the great power comes great responsibility. I mean,
Yeah, totally. And you know when we help onboard people, you know, we're excited to try and get in there and give me a thumbs up if you're ready to join, Dave. There we go.
there you
Yeah.
go.
So we got my buddy Dave. Dave up in you in up in the Bakken oil fields.
Yeah, yeah, it's all of a total of 3 degrees. Woohoo! Well, it's better than zero.
Damn.
Three is
No, it,
better
it
than
could be
zero.
worse, man. Max can tell you all about it, man. 40 below and up to your butt in snow just sucks, and it has to go. And that's what drove my good friend, the X-ray Vision, to the ends of the earth to figure out, hey, you know what? There has to be a better way. There just has to be. I can't take it anymore. I got to do something better with my life. And he did, and I'm proud of him because he got out of the rat race. And I'm
Oh
pretty
yeah.
damn jealous about it. And believe it or not, I'm at this moment I'm at work, so sorry. I got to check my mirror, make sure I don't
Are you
shoot my.
crapping icicles?
No, I've never done that, but this is the only place on earth when you had to go prairie dogging, which is using the restroom without a restroom. And it's actually crossed my mind that if I didn't finish, the opening may freeze shut. That's ridiculous cold, man. I mean, that's just stupid cold. Oh God, you guys don't want to talk about number twos, man. We're talking about number 1X.
We are, and what I was saying when we brought you on was, we take for granted the fact that we know how to work, how to stake and unstake hex, because it's something that's going to take you a while to figure out on your own, even if you're obsessed and good at finding stuff on YouTube and the internet and playing around. If you're somewhat tech savvy, it's going to take you a while to figure a lot of the stuff out, right? And like you were saying, good.
Oh, I kind of cheated, man. I just made my owner do it, which is code for my wife. I do love her, but she this is our agreement. I'm in charge of accounts receivable. She's in charge of accounts payable. So, it's just, you got to pay your hex now so you can have more later. It's pretty simple.
Casey.
Yes, sir.
Sorry. Just wanted to get a shout out.
Casey's in the house.
Yeah.
If you can come on, Casey, the link is in the chat, so feel free to join us, Casey, a good friend of ours. So yeah, that's awesome that you and your wife can work together, because that's going to serve you really well in the future.
Well, we agree on it, and it's simple, guys. I don't know. I went different. Here's the confessional. Metamask in Nevada, working at the gold mine. And, at that point in time, I had a semi truck. I had about 40 grand in the escrow account to, just for breakdowns, and the oil field went to crap. There was nothing going on. So I drove the truck home, went out, worked with Max, said, Dave, buy hex. You really need to buy hex. Oh no, I'm going to buy silver. Hey, that'll be a great idea, because the world's going to go to hell in a handbasket in no time, and I can use that to trade and barter, because, the dollar's going to be like nothing. Well, that sure didn't work out worth the damn. If I'd listened to Max, I figured it out when we just had our latest run up. If I'd actually done what he said, that 40 grand would have turned into $1 million. And I'm still looking at 40 grand worth of silver going, Jesus, Dave, what were you thinking, son? But there you go. It happens. Anyway, I learned, and I won't repeat the same mistake. I mean, I look at the silver money as like grapes of wrath. Oh my God, hell's upon us. Everything's horrible. So it's going to stay where it's at for oh crap money, but everything else I make, I just need to drain into hex. That's all there is to it, because the returns are phenomenal. And, worst case scenario, everything goes sideways. It was the best shot to take. I mean, do you want to really invest in companies that profit to earnings ratios are just out of this world? I don't know, man. Because
it could have been worse. You could have bought, Dogecoin at the top, and now your 40 grand would be like 5 grand.
Oh my
or
gosh!
Less, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. It could
get way worse.
No, but when you guys talk about T-shirts, can you kind of explain that a little bit? Because I think I got some coming eventually. I don't know. I did some 15-year stakes, so they just like, okay, you've been a really good boy. Here's a T-share.
Yeah, I mean, so T-shares. Let's talk about that. So when you stake, you are given T-shares. Think of it like, I'm going to give you an analogy. So if you know what a credit union is, right?
Oh yeah, I use one.
Perfect. So, the difference between a bank and a credit union is a credit union is the depositors or the owners of the bank. Okay. So when you stake, you're a depositor, right? You deposit and lock up your coins. And so in return, you're getting these T-shares, which is pretty much like stock in the Hex project, right? So your T-shares are actually like dividends, right? That are acute, they're set, they're immutable, so they don't change. So, and they go with your stake. So if you want more T-shares, all you have to do is stake more. So the more you stake, or the longer you stake, or even bigger stakes, they're going to give you more T-shares. Now, the price of T-shares is priced in hex. So those, and as stakes are matured or even end staked early, those T-shares are burned. They're no mas. It's not
Okay.
like, you know what I'm saying? So just like in the credit union, when you withdraw your, like you close your account, instead of reselling those stocks to another person, they actually burn them. They actually rip them up and shred them.
Got you.
You get it?
I think so, as much as I can.
It's
I'm just
a
looking
little
forward
hard
to
to
it.
wrap your head around, but and if you think it that way, because you really you get daily interest or dividends, because I don't really like to use interest, because yes, there's interest, which is the inflation interest, but really it's a dividend that you're given
Okay.
based on your T-shares. Because if you look at the returns that you're getting, it's based on your returns on how many T-shares you own. So every day you're given, I think the rate right now is about 5.8
It was
hex.
592 today, so it's been like 59
Yeah. So
pretty
it's based
recently.
on that. So just like in a CD, when you withdraw early and you're penalized, instead of so because you're a stockholder in the company or the credit union or Hex in this case, you're rewarded for those, because those are disseminated to the shareholders. So when you're a shareholder, you get a dividend.
Nice.
So they're really dividends. So the more T-shares you own, the more dividends you're going to get. And that's where it gets kind of foggy to people, because I know it says interest, but because partially of that is, yes, it's the inflation factor which is the 3.69% APY of inflation, that's newly minted coins that are being disseminated on a daily basis based on stakes. And on top of that, you're getting whoever end stakes and penalized, those are dividends.
Yeah, those unstaked people. How does that get distributed throughout the network? You know, the folks that Hexray talked about as horrible situation where somebody got somebody's seed words and just went bananas and emergently unstaked all his money. Okay, well then those T-shares get divided up amongst everybody evenly, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
Yep, they get divided not evenly. It's evenly on your T shares. So
Okay.
so if you have, for example, if I have more Hex or T shares, like, I don't know, I'm going to give you an example. Actually, this is an actual example. I know Hexray Vision has way more T shares than I do. So of course, because he has more T shares than I do, he gets paid more because he's a bigger holder of shares.
Gotcha.
Well, and in the case of the people that get hacked, if someone hacks your account and ends your stake early and they cancel that contract, right? And so those stakes are actually gone from the network. They are no more. And
Oh, okay.
so the amount of shares goes up and down depending on how much hex people lock up.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. I mean, I feel terrible for that poor guy, man. That absolutely sucks. I just read an article today about somebody searching in a landfill for like 8 months trying to find a laptop because he had $350 million of Bitcoin. Holy crap.
That actually was a Netflix documentary. It was on Netflix somewhere. Yeah, it's true. He's in England. This guy from London, England. He had or somewhere in England. He had, an old. What happened is he actually threw away the wrong hard drive, thinking, because he was moving and he had to move, and so thinking there was nothing in it, he threw away his old hard drives, and in that hard drive there was locked up Bitcoin. Now that's a misnomer because really it's not in that hardware. The keys are on that hardware, and so that's what he lost. So he lost his keys. So he actually knows where his hard drive is in the landfill. He actually contracted someone to like investigate, but the municipal government doesn't let him mine or dig up the landfill because it's capped, right? It was capped. So that's what happened.
That's crazy.
Wow.
You know, we got another Hex celebrity in the house, Rags to
The
Riches.
host.
I thought he was gonna shave his back tonight, so I didn't know if he could make it. So if you're ready to join us, give me a thumbs up, Rags, and here we.
I'll be right back, guys. I just got my load off. I'll be right
Sure.
back.
All right.
I thought he was on an aircraft. Like a C-130.
No, he's in a truck, right?
Yeah.
He's a trucker.
Dude, it wasn't my back that was needing shaving. It was your mom's back.
Listen, my mom's been doing a lot better since she's been getting those treatments. Okay, so
the Valtrex treatments. And it's like I've got like 5 gallons of Nair for your mother, dude. We're ready to go. Hey, what's up, man? Brandon, what's your name?
T Money.
Team Money. What's up, Team Money?
What's up? Nice to meet you. We haven't really formally met.
No, we
haven't. A lot
haven't.
of good things from you.
Oh, you must have the wrong person, Team Money. Get the wrong person. Oh, let me see what this chat's doing. We got a bunch of dumbasses in here. Let's see. Terrafin, yeah, dumbass. Renob Kid, dumbass. Runeski's dumbass. They're all in here.
Well, I tagged you, and so we got them the the crazy people from your community, just not you. So
yeah,
that's how it works. Next time
like,
I want a bunch of hooligans, I'll just tag you in something.
Yeah, man.
And then the hooligans will show up.
So what are we talking about in here, man? What do you?
We've been talking about
a stream, and we've
been talking about T-shares.
T-shares.
We were talking about 3 or 4 things that I think are going to blow Hex out of the water. Like, just go. People are going to change their pants when these things come down. One of them being the pulse chain launch.
Okay.
Have you had a chance to play it with the testnet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the fees? Did you see how fast it is?
I saw how fast it was, and I saw the fees. Yes.
Yeah, the lack of fees, I should say. Did you feel a sense of nostalgia, like you went back in time with those?
I did. I remembered what it used to be like in a former life, a long time ago, when it didn't cost an arm and a leg to do something in crypto.
So that's crazy. The idea of the hedge fund or grayscale like things showing up with Hex, that blows my mind.
Well, if it does, like, is there news on it, or are you just saying if it goes that route?
Well, Kinetic said that he thinks he's about 3 months out from getting everything ready, and then they're probably going to be accepting accredited investors first because they're the easiest and the least amount of paperwork and crap you got to go through.
So they build a portfolio, and then they issue shares based on their holdings.
Just like Grayscale and
premium
Bitcoin.
Grayscale. Okay.
So basically, they're just going to be, charging people who don't want to do it themselves.
And and
That's
to
huge.
just the minimum that type of mechanism is $10 million. So minimum they have to have 10 million to buy in assets. So, and they have to
have a net worth of 10 mil, but that's not their minimum.
No.
Okay,
What?
but that's the qualifier.
That's the qualifier.
Yeah. Okay. So that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. So that would suck a lot of the liquidity off the like clean out all the exchanges if they started gobbling up stuff. right?
Yeah.
And then a lot of people have been talking about the encapsulated stakes or transferable stakes.
Yeah.
And they said the code is done on the back end, but it's not done on the front end. So when they do, the front end, if I'm a whale with a ton of money, it only makes sense for me to lock up 150 million hex for 5555 and max out the bonuses and sit on it.
Max, just say it. You're the Godwell. Right?
No, no. I'm more like that. You know those manatees in the documentaries that just keep getting hit by the speedboats and their head is covered in scars. That's who I relate to in the
You're the
Sea
manatee
Creature
or the
Kingdom.
speedboat, bro?
No.
Some days you're the manatee and some days you're the speedboat, bro.
Richard Hart's PETA. He's like, stop it, guys. Cut it out. He's trying to save us, man. All right, so was that 4?
Wait, so you got the encapsulated stakes, you got just the launch of pulse chain, you got the grayscale. There's another one I was thinking about. I was like, oh, that could blow everything out of the water. If any big exchange picks it up, they've got to buy the supply first. So we're going to see the price ramp up as they try to gobble it quietly, and then the second they say, hey, all you crazy Hexicans, come buy it from us, whether it's, Coinbase, Binance, any of those homies, then boom, that shoots. So that's, what's that, five possible scenarios that just blow the price through the roof.
So and you're talking about Hex, not Pulse, right?
Yeah, this is all just Hex. These aren't even like the fact that Pulse is going to come out, and in my opinion, it's going to do what Ethereum did in half the time, conservatively.
So 3 years, 14,000x?
Yeah, it sounds about right. Plus pay interest on top of that 14,000x.
Boom.
Boom.
I don't know what to do with that, man.
I just keep changing my pants, and I just keep onboarding people. Like, so my wife, she went to a game, like a girls' game night. And so I was just kind of bored at home, and the football game was okay, but it wasn't that great. So I called this guy that hadn't been able to make it to my library meetings. And I said, hey, if you're home, I'll come over and we'll walk through setting up your staking ladder. And so that's what I ended up doing tonight. And I probably scared them, like just the way I was jumping up and down and shaking, and, my hard nipples, I probably just made them wonder if they had made the right decision. And then here you go, like in 3 or 4 months, they're going to be like, oh, Max is a genius, it feels good, but it's not true. Max he just picked up on some stuff that's very important. And what Tony was talking about earlier was, and I know that you're a smart little kitty cat too, when it comes to when it comes to finances, a couple things. And so the next thing you do is everyone's going to have this amount of money, this great amount of money, and be like, I have no idea what to do with this money. Right? Like, what do I do now that I'm rich? I don't want to lose all the taxes. I don't want to make any mistakes. I don't want to get, raked over the coals by the I, the R, and the ESSA. Right? So then that's going to be a whole wave of people seeking the knowledge of what to do with the money.
I think things are going to get crazy, man. Like when we start seeing things like annuities on the blockchain. All right. And that's basically what we're doing already. We're allowing people right now to, we're locking up money. People aren't necessarily using that money unless you're on a big exchange. But if you could take some of your profit post-tax and be able to roll that into an annuity where you're guaranteed, instead of 2.5%, you could get friggin' 5 or 6% guaranteed without losing your principal locked in for 5 years. And if we kind of do things mimic the traditional finance structures, but have better payouts. I mean, what CDs as well? What were the highest rates for CDs in the past 20 years?
Yeah,
I think in the 80s they were actually really high.
no,
As far back as the 80s, they're actually decent.
Not really, but it topped out in 1981. But then there was a savings and loan scam, and that's what blew out the CD. And so the government shit on that CD platform.
Yeah.
So it was really good. Actually, it started at 50s, 60s, 70s. They were still.
Yeah.
I mean, you were getting, 20. I remember 17% APY, and that was on the low end. This was way back. We can look it up on Google, but ever since the government stepped in and started, they fucked up that whole system. That they screwed up that whole product. So, and then of course the banks, they even screwed it even more, because really it was the savings and loan and credit unions that would touted the CD, their certificate of deposit.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think we're going to see, I think eventually, and I saw this on Cardano, I think we're going to see insurance products on the blockchain as well. And it looked like there was one product that was being pushed on Cardano, but I haven't looked it up. But I think that'll be a next iteration. And I think that's going to be a big iteration, because the insurance business is it's a multi-trillion-dollar business across the world. And I think we might see that migrate over to the blockchain eventually. We'll see.
Well, and let's take the flip side. Besides the massive gains, look at the security you have against downside. If you lock up your coins for 10 to 15 years and you're maxing out the APY, I might be wrong, but my understanding is that if the price of Hex could drop 40 to 60% a year, and you would break even.
Yeah,
is that right?
Based on your interest, at least you're secure there. Simulated interest.
Show me one investment in the regular world, in the legacy world, where your underlying asset can drop like that every year and you break even. That's unreal.
They'll give you caps, so that you've got products that are based off the S&P 500, and companies they'll cap your downside at 0, but they'll also cap your upside at like 9 or 10% return. Anything above that, they'll take. So there's nothing that can really simulate what Hex is at all, because you get to keep all the upside with Hex, all of it, which is a good thing.
Godfather J6 asks, what's the bonus someone receives from staking and delegating their pulse?
We don't know yet.
Delegating it to validators.
Yeah, I assume that's what they're asking,
Yeah.
because there's not going to be a longer pays better on Pulse.
Yeah. So is there going to be 2 staking mechanisms? Asking you guys this. One is going to be you delegate to a validator. Is there going to be another one? Right.
No,
so it just depends on how much the validators want to pay out.
That is correct.
So it's the competition aspect.
Yep. So the 33 validators, you need to shop around with the validators and what they're willing to give.
Right.
Yeah, because some of them may be willing to give you 100% of what they make for the first 6 months or a year and build up a big following and some credibility with the community, and then others might say, well, I'll kick 25% your way, right? Like I don't need you. Mm-hmm. But the two rates that I've heard kicked around, I don't even know where they came from. So don't even take this with a whole grain of salt. Maybe like cut that grain of salt in half. Because everyone's been quoting 5 or 10% a year is what they think you might make by delegating your stake for APY.
Yeah, like if you look at Algorand and some of the other coins like that, what's the Tezos? They're proof of stake, and you can validate. Cosmos is another one. I think the highest of Cosmo gives you about 12%. That's what the highest validator I've seen is willing to give you. So it should be about, well, I was going to expect about the same. So, because there is a cost to run your server and whatnot. There is a cost to it.
It's very expensive.
Can be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can be.
Depending on the redundancy, I guess,
Yep.
that you build into it.
That's correct.
Yeah.
David, wasn't David on your show?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did a couple of tech talks on Sunday. This next Sunday, I was asking Tony here from Freedom TV if he wants to host Tech Talk. If you and David Feeder are up to it, the only requirement I have is that you give him harder questions when it comes to trivia than you gave me.
Dude,
Because
you got your
I
ass
feel-
beat in trivia, man. Bear, you got your damn ass beat in trivia. All right.
People are like,
What kind of trivia?
Oh, do you want to play real quick?
I don't know. Let's do a round.
All right, hold on. Let's
All right.
get it.
Bum, 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 bum. I'll put the music on. Bum, bum, or
Yeah.
Yeah. And RuneSky has answered that question better. The percentage of fees the validator wants to share with you will be your bonus.
Yeah.
All right, you ready for this, dude?
I hope so.
No, I wasn't ready for it last time.
Damn it, Bear. Hold on. Give another guy a chance. Who is the current supreme leader of North Korea?
Iljong Kim or whatever. Un.
Are you dude? It's Kim Jong Un.
Kim
You
Jong-
didn't
I
give
know
me a
it's Kim.
chance to steal. I knew that one.
No,
That's
you
going to be
didn't.
the only
Don't
one
lie.
all night
You've
that I
thrown the
know.
lies
Yeah,
that you
he's
sit
the
upon.
he's the third. He's the third. He's the third generation now in North Korea. So his grandfather, and then it was his dad. And
Yep.
that's why I got confused. It's the Kims, so or whatever.
All right, you ready? I got an easy one for you, Bear. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready for easy.
Who is the lead singer for the rock and roll band The Crickets?
Holy crap!
Who the hell are the Crickets?
Damn it.
Yeah, I know the Crickets.
This is an easy one, Bear.
All right, can I ask for a hint? Like, what is a song that the Crickets sing?
No, you're on trial here, not me. passed?
The lead singer of the. I'm going to throw a shot in the dark here, and I'm going to go with Eminem.
Jeez. Negative. Buddy Holly, you dumbass.
Oh, that's
guy.
right. That's right.
He said that's right.
That's right.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. You're next. All right. This is the last one of the night, and then I got to go. All right. Which country has the most volcanoes?
I want to say Chile, but
Chile. All right. Are you stealing, Bear? What you got, man?
I want a chance to steal. Yeah, I'm going to say that the country with the most volcanoes is going to be Costa Rica.
Estados Unidos, amigo.
Estados Unidos.
Estados Unidos.
Really?
Sí.
Oh, wow. That's a new one to me.
Sí.
Hmm.
Pues hasta luego, amigos. Hasta luego. Nice to meet you, my friend. Nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
So
And,
how do you know Espanol?
Oh, I failed it 4 times. You tend to know it after you fail it 4 times. I took Spanish 1 4 times in a row, bro.
Well, if I give you a whole liter of tequila, would your accent get better and better?
Dude, I've been to Spain drunk off my ass, and I can get anywhere in that city, bro. And I get into the underground places, dude.
Well, let's go to Mexico. We got a house over there. My family owns a tequila distillery, so you're in good hands.
I still don't know what the answer was.
To what?
To the most volcanoes.
Estados Unidos, United States.
U.S.
Well, it makes sense when you say it like that.
Well, I take that quite literally. Yes.
I'm guessing that most of them are in Hawaii.
I mean, you got
And then
Yellowstone.
Washington.
You got a lot of dormant volcanoes that are up and down the Appalachians. Actually, do you know that?
No,
Yeah,
it seems like they're not doing their job.
they built the Appalachians, man. What are you talking about? Unless
Nothing.
you're a flat earther or a hollow earther, and then there's Pangea, and then we go down that road. We're not going down that road.
Wait a second. Who
What?
was the one that was talking about Hollow Earth that was dropping stuff I've never heard before?
Crypto Heartbeat, and he was
Oh
hammered,
yeah,
dude.
he went through a whole paragraph of points, and I was like, I'm convinced. I'm convinced of the Hollow Earth theory.
Dude, he got into it biblically. I'm like, whoa.
Yeah,
I've never heard
I
of
don't
that
know
one.
if I believe in the demons part of it, but I definitely think that it's possible they're hiding something crazy at the polls.
Don't do this to T Money right now. He doesn't need this at the time of night.
I mean, I've heard it all. I've heard this. You know that the Nazis went to South Pole, and try to develop a bunker out there, and they have a whole lost city. I've heard of that. So
I did a stream with David Weiss. He's a very prominent flat earther in the world, and he has a small army of people following him. And you should watch that stream, dude. That was crazy. It was a little bit crazy, a little bit wild.
Yeah,
and then after that, we can go get hammered off tequila. Now, here's the thing: when I drink tequila, I climb shit, but there's too many cacti in frigging Mexico. I don't think I'm gonna be climbing cactuses, right?
No. There's cactus up north. South of Mexico.
Oh, south, yeah,
is tropical, man.
Yeah, tropical. It's on the equator.
There's
yeah.
monkeys, and that's the problem. I don't know if a monkey wants to, handle you.
Dude, I don't want to handle a damn monkey, dude. Just freaking jungle rats. I don't want that.
jungle rats. Is it true that every year in the Appalachians, you guys have to get together and do a live reading of where the red fern grows? Is that
What
still
the hell? No, dude.
a law?
What in the dude? No, we have a funeral every year for old Dan and little Sue. We had to bury this. It might have been little Sue and old Dan. I forgot. So where the red fern grows is a classic about a boy who buys 2 coon dogs off of friggin' some magazine, and he travels far and wide to go get them. He picks them up, and they end up dying, dude. A daggone raccoon drowned them or cut them open, right?
Yeah, I think the raccoon killed one, and then the other one just laid down next to its grave and died, that's a really great. It's a great kids book. Like,
dude,
you get the kids around. Hey, kids, you guys like animals? You like dogs? Listen to this story.
Dude, that's where I learned how evil those trash pandas were, dude. Raccoons are no joke. They will lead a dog out into the middle of a river. They'll jump up on a rock and pop up on their head and drown them. Smart.
No way.
Yeah, that's what the raccoons are smart, dude.
I want to see footage of this.
No, you
this
don't.
Sounds like,
but it requires a dog drowning.
Okay. Well, like maybe if they put a fake dog out there.
Fern grows, it was legit. All right, don't question that. That's blasphemous.
What if you had one of those robotic dogs drowned? I wouldn't feel bad.
Is that where you're at in the Appalachian Mountains?
No, I'm in Guadalajara.
You are?
Negative Ghost Rider.
That's okay.
We're messing up his OPSEC.
Jalisco.
See?
Jalisco.
If you want to find out where Rags to Riches lives, you got to find the landfill that has one giant hill that's just ginger back hair that he's been throwing out for years.
Dude. God dang, dude, that's brutal, man. I get no respect in this hex community, dude. No freaking respect, man. God bless America. Back here in a landfill. Yeah, I'm searching for my hard drive of Bitcoin for the last 5 years. Day in and day out. I'll be rich one day. Guys, I gotta leave.
Sure.
Dude, it's great.
That's what you keep saying.
Hexray Vision. Hope I never see you again, as usual. And let me give a shout out to the dumbasses, the damn hooligans.
Yeah, are you shooting that video this Saturday?
He got COVID, bro.
What?
The dude got COVID.
So how does that affect your plans going forward?
I'm going to wear a spacesuit and deliver the money. Are you familiar, T Money, with my thing?
No, not really.
All right, so I did a Christmas drive. We raised $7,300 for a family in need for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
So we had a camera crew. We were gonna take the camera crew on Saturday and just like be like, hey bro, we raised $100 for you. Here you go. And throw it on the table and then be like, here's another 100. Here's 300. Here's another 300. And just record it all and just watch his jaw go, But he got COVID. So now we're just like, I might have to get a NASA suit. I might have to do it.
Dang it. It's all right.
Well, that concludes my portion. Great to meet you, my man. Hasta luego, amigo.
Thank you for coming on. It's always a pleasure. Stop by anytime you want. The door's always open.
It's so great to see you coming into your own and just blossoming as a YouTuber. I'm so happy for you. I'm so happy.
I feel like this is my quinceañera.
I feel like this is your calling.
That's okay. Right. I saw him get his cherry popped. So
yeah,
his first stream.
Yeah.
If you can just get him to shut up, he'd be okay. But he just won't stop, dude. He just keeps going and going.
I'm gonna find some really, really difficult trivia one day, and then I'll feel better if you get some wrong answers.
There's something that you need to know about me. My brain is special. My brain is special.
Oh my goodness. I didn't know I had to scroll down, but we have the man, the myth, the legend, Bit Finesse.
Whoa.
In the green room. Coming up.
Whoa, Bit.
Whoa, smokes.
Bit Finesse. Welcome to Hexray Vision.
Thank you for having me. Hello, T Money. Hello,
What's up, buddy?
X-Ray Vision.
Hello.
Go fuck yourself, Brandon.
Hey, my name's Jonathan, dumbass.
Your trivia is the most bullshit in the entire space of crypto and possibly international global money and banking and finance.
It's the simplest shit ever. It's so simple.
I will stand tall and proud next to X-Ray Vision. That's nonsense. Complete.
Dude, he came on here to stick up for you, man. And it's not, dude, Bifinus, it's not your fault that he doesn't know how many freaking volcanoes there are in the United States. All right, chill the hell out.
I invite you to have.
I
invite you to have Molotov Motley Investor on your trivia and see how that goes.
Bring him on, man. I don't know anybody in this community. I'm just a lone wolf, man. I just make content. I make fun of people. I love it when I get to make fun of your dumbass too, man. God.
Well, you're doing a shit job, man, because your content's actually really good. I know you're not trying to make it good, but it's pretty good. So,
well, Jesus, dude, thanks for the insult. That's what keeps me going at night, dude.
Excellent.
You know, your video with Hodprol about the 10 steps to setting up your stream.
Yeah.
I'm still working through that and trying to take notes. Obviously, I'm still stuck on StreamYard, but there's so much good information there for Hexicans starting to stream. If you are streaming or new or anything, jump on his interview with Hodprol where they go on the beginning steps to how to stream. It's good stuff.
Stream, folks. If you want to onboard people and pump your bags and scale the amount of people that you can reach on a daily basis, you're not going to do it in Podunk, Iowa, wherever T Money is in Guadalajara, or daggone Bitfinesse. He's in a fallout shelter in Iowa. Who knows? YouTube is the way to scale your message. So just start streaming. Don't worry about it. If only 5 people look at you, you don't care. They'll never look you. 5 people a stream, you're good. But you just get to scale. Let's go. LFG. FJB.
Amen.
Yeah. Hey, I gotta say to Bitfinesse, every time you post one of your stickers on the gas pump, like 3 times out of 4, I'm like, man, I've been there. You know, I remember some of those places on the road.
Yeah, so you were in the oil field, huh? And you also did over the road stuff?
Yeah, over the road, oil field, gold mines, fuel, ran fuel in the West. from the refineries. So I got all the crappy jobs.
Yeah. It was cool seeing your buddy on earlier. He must be in eastern or southeastern North Dakota in the Bakken.
Yeah, you guys want to check in with him? Check this out. He is not a streamer. He just left his phone pointed at his seat.
He's like, I'll be back,
Nice.
guys.
Yeah, he's like, I'll be back, and
I gotta drop my load. I wonder
yeah,
what
he
time
had to
it is.
drop his load, and I don't know if he's gonna make it back, but
He's probably at the pilot dropping his load.
yeah.
Guys, I was kind of triggered and emotionally damaged by Bitfinis, so I'm going to go ahead and make my departure here. I hate
Good
All right,
riddance,
thanks.
sir.
Thanks for coming by.
See you later,
We'll
my
check you
friend.
later.
Good. Ciao.
Right. Holy moly. So what is your time frame, Bitfinesse? How are you gonna run on the road until Pulse is $1? Like what's your exit strategy?
Yeah, think
This
about
is a
that.
really difficult question. I spend hours thinking about this every day. I don't want to be an owner operator. I'm not an owner operator currently. My cousins control the company for which we work, and that's wildly advantageous. We do whatever we want. For instance, the reason why I'm not in my regular truck right now is because we're having the PACCAR motor taken out of my truck. It's on the ground at the moment in Tulsa. We're going to put a Detroit in there. I think it's a 1999 Detroit, which, it's a glider kit, right? Bypass all the DEF. You don't have to run electronic logs. It's great. That'll allow me to keep doing what I'm doing and be more protected from regulation. Hex is going great. Yeah, I mean, I could walk away right now and be totally fine. Generationally, all that's good, but the biggest thing I was really worried about with Hex, I was terrified that there might not be substantial dips to buy. That was my biggest concern. I thought this thing might just stair step up forever and never have dips, but we have dips. So, like Richard Hart says, buying dips is insanely profitable. So, yeah, I've been putting all my money into Hex and locking it up for really long periods of time. I think my shortest stake is 10-year stake. So, I'm still just following my staking ladder, the second staking ladder that I have pinned at the top of my Twitter. I'm just following that, but I haven't yet been able to get myself to make a stake shorter than 15 years, with the exception of my first and third stake that I made. Those are 10-year stakes. So I'm taking all of my dollars and putting them into Hex. Well, I could, I can't sell any Hex because I don't have any Hex. I have a little bit of Hex liquid that I'm sacrificing for this next sacrifice phase. Other than that, I don't want to sell any Hex to buy a truck. I think I need 300,000, between 300,000 and $500,000 to have my own truck and trailer. The only reason why I want to have my own truck and trailer is so that I can take more dollars out of our economy and put them where I think they should go. I think they should go into Pulse and Hex, particularly Hex. So also, if I have my own truck and trailer, I can advertise Hex on them and maybe even grow that into multiple trucks and grow a fleet. I'm committed to not selling any Hex to do that. So right now I'm torn between how much money am I willing to let sit in dollars to go toward buying these assets versus putting them in Hex. And that's a really hard decision. I'm also committed to I'm committed to not retiring until I build a company that can buy Hex for me forever. I just think that's the best thing to do. So I'm saving money, but then every a few weeks or a few months, I put all that money into Hex and I start back at zero. So I don't know how long I'm going to do this. I can do this for a really long time. It helps knowing that I can walk away whenever I want. And so I don't know. I think I'm going to keep, I don't know, for the foreseeable future, I'm going to do this at least until I have my own assets and resources. And when I have those, I'll have a dollar cash flow that will protect my investment and allow me to never sell Hex if I don't want to. I think that's really the goal. I want to be in a position where I don't have to sell any Hex ever if I don't want to, in cash flow dollars. But I want a majority of those dollars to also buy Hex for me forever. And then retirement will legitimately be on the table. So I don't know. It's a tough question. There's that balance between holding dollars for purchasing assets versus throwing all those dollars into Hex. And with dips like we've had, it's really hard to hold on to dollars. I'm unapologetic with it.
You might be you're lagging a little bit there, Bit Finesse. You're gonna have to go to the other side of the truck stop to get the Wi-Fi back on.
Yep.
Shout out to Sandy B in the house.
Yeah, Sandy B is in the house.
Shout out to Limon Ortega.
Yeah, he says he's new. Hello, Limon. Welcome.
Yeah, and Eco Builder, how are you doing tonight? We're waiting for. I don't know if Bit Finesse knows that he's slowing down a little bit. We also got some more people. Oh, he's coming in on another stream, and we're gonna add Casey to this as well.
Casey,
what's up,
what's
guys?
up, my brother?
All right, so let me get rid of your other one. No, he's showing up here. He's showing up here twice, Bit Finesse. He's officially in slow motion in real life.
So I wanted to retort about
to Bit Finesse.
Yes, to Bit Finesse.
And hopefully we can get his back in here where his audio is better. But keep going.
So I hear his plan. So he wants to build up a trucking company or a business that creates dollars so he can convert those into Hex and then not sell Hex. I would say do it the backwards. So get enough dollars to get into Pulse and Hex, build up your bag, and when you have these run up, you can actually buy he said 300,000, right? So let's say, I don't know when he came in, but let's say he came in today or a week ago at 13 cents. So if he works, the way it's working and just DCA in through up the run up, he could probably get a $300,000 in Hex, in a pretty short amount of time to buy his equipment. Actually, you can even finance that equipment with 10 to 20% down, or even lease it, and the Hex is making the payment, and you can do a monthly stake, and let and that's the monthly payment, right? So you can actually work backwards. So, which is kind of like what I want to say. Most people, if understand how much of 40% or even 38% APY works in a compound fashion, plus you have your price appreciation, it can work in your favor. Now, you definitely want to have if you're going to be a brand new business owner, whoever you are, you want to start with a Mabil, okay? MABIL, okay? You want to have a mentor. You want to have an accountant, a great accountant. You want to have a good banker that's not shilling you of their products, a good insurance company, because if you're a trucker right? You're going to need some good insurance, because that's like a big bullet that, you know, you're driving a big bull on your back, and you need that liability insurance, and you need a good lawyer, a good legal team too behind you, because if you're in business today, you're going to get sued. It's the nature of the beast. Been in business for a long time, 20 years. Me and my brother, he's on here too. We had a fleet of 6, 7 roll-off trucks. We had 300 bins that we rented out. When you're in 20 years in business, I've seen it all. You know, I've seen it all. People, our dumpsters getting on a fire, our recycling center. We had a fire in the recycling center. If we didn't have insurance, our business would have been shut down yesterday. Now, instead of having the regular insurance, of course you're going to need that, but your reassurance is Hex, right? You want that backup to the backup, absolutely, for those devastating times in your life. I just want to preach about how we have to be, as a Hexican, it is your responsibility to be a business owner and to understand how, if you're not a business owner, you're going to be paying the most taxes ever. So, you know, that's how this whole country was founded, on free enterprise system. And the free enterprise system is getting choked out. These Fortune 500 companies is putting small business owners out of business. Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie.
So I'll leave it there. That's my soapbox. So talk to me. You know, I mean, seriously, Bitfin, if you want to be a trucker and you want to be an owner operator, you know, it's not easy to be an owner operator. I totally understand that. From going from a 1099er, you know, like a small business, to a real business and having a fleet, that's a big leap. And you have to have a team of people that support you and understand how to be in business.
Yeah, and the only reason we would consider doing this is because we're experts in this field. You know, we're experts in what we do. I mean, we're some of the best in the country. We can do. I'm not saying this. This is brokers saying this and customers saying this. For instance, I was in Texas making a run. They needed a load shipped 700 miles every other day, and they've been doing this run for 23 years. And they said they've never found anyone who's been able to do it. Our brokers tell us, you know, that for instance, the trucks I drive, they only pick up loads that have already been dropped by 2 or more carriers. So every load I get, it's just get there as fast as you can. So I run very differently, but we're experts in the smooth bore, non-baffled tanking business. As far as keeping the trucks up and running a tank wash, managing guys. But that's the only reason we would consider doing that. We know too much to not be in the business. For ourselves, it turns out we should have put up the $23 million to buy the company that we now manage. We didn't think we would have been able to do it, and we're doing it now. Unfortunately, most of the profits are going to another company, and we don't like that. We're gonna fix that. As far as financing, if buying my own equipment, I'm also committed not to using leverage. And you know, Richard Hart has a great point when he says that it's very, very likely nothing will outperform or come close to performing the highest appreciating asset class of all time, let alone the highest appreciating asset in that asset class. So, and you know, he's right. Money that goes into equipment and resources, I would consider it a waste if it weren't for the fact that I could advertise Hex doing it. Because the returns in Hex are just far superior than the ROI you're going to receive on any vehicle you can maintain and run for 5 or 10 years. So that would be the reason that I don't sell Hex, to make it happen faster, because the little $10,000 I put into Hex at a time grows so much faster than it would in property, plant, and equipment. And as far as like experience, we wash out a lot of guys because they can't do this job for this company, because no one's checking your brakes, no one's doing your pre-trips, no one's checking your oil, no one's changing your belts, no one's tightening your hub seals. The driver has to do all that. The driver has to make sure that all the paperwork's on the truck, that the trailer registration's on the truck. And if you get hit with any fines, it's on the driver here. Like, we do it hard, fast, and no one's going to help you. So that where I work is a great place to be trained to be an owner-operator. And if I hadn't worked here, I wouldn't even consider being an owner-operator. It's too much of a hassle. But I'm basically an owner-operator now in my functions, except for the profits. And I'm probably one of the highest paid drivers per mile in the country. I make over $1 a mile. I would only double that if I buy my own equipment. So the real point for me is the question: at what point do you back off buying Hex? Because it's the most profitable thing I think a person can do. At what point do you back off that to put dollars into buying these things? And it's a tough question.
So I wouldn't say right now, but if you what I meant by saying is not by selling your Hex. If you accumulate Hex, because we were talking before in the beginning of this stream, encapsulated stakes, right? So you can leverage your encapsulated stakes. So you're not selling your Hex, you're actually leveraging your Hex to buy out, and then create this value that you have in the virtual world has to come into the real world so that you can do what your purpose or whatever your goals are, right? And so, same thing is that if you're going to go on to the Pulse sacrifice, or you went into Pulse sacrifice and using liquid loans, I hope it works what it says it's going to work. I mean, I'm just basing this on the white paper, but we'll see if it works or not, right? They get all the bugs out of the system. And if it works how it's supposed to work, then you can leverage your Pulse also to with this new stable Pulse coin, so that you can get value in the real world, and you're not selling your Pulse or your Hex. That's all I'm saying. So it's exciting time. It's all this is going to happen in the next year, in 12 months.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time talking to Jesse, the pit boss. I was there when he was pitching, what's his name, Ben Mala, on his live stream, and I think it's going to work. And if it doesn't, I think they'll fix it and make it work. I like the fact that it's a stable coin factory. I think it's a phenomenal play for people with a lot of bulls, people in the sacrifice set, to be able to cash out a little bit of equity. We're at the edge. I mean, we're at the end of finance, guys. Like, there's nothing beyond what's going on in our little ecosystem here that's rapidly growing. We're at the very edge of finance. It's an insane time to be alive, let alone be in these projects. I got in Hex on day 2. I know a lot of other people got better deals than I got. I don't feel bad about that. I listened to Richard Hart, didn't get in on day 1, but I managed risk like an idiot. I thought, well, this thing should be awesome, except for the fact that other people have to see why other things suck to really come to Hex. Fortunately, I was a little bit incorrect. A lot of people are coming in Hex without knowing why other things suck, and while they're here, they're educated on why the rest of crypto has massive problems. Something I realized tonight is that, with these future regulations coming up, a lot of people are worried about being KYC'd and AML'd. And I think it comes down to if you are buying a coin that has admin keys, I think there are really only two reasons why a coin would have admin keys. One, and this is if the founders are noble, if a coin has admin keys, it could very well be because the tech stack is dog shit. That could be if the founders are noble. It could be that they didn't use the right tools, they didn't use the right stack, and they need the admin keys to fix things if something goes wrong. Okay, great. Number two is if the founders are not noble, and if that's the case, maybe they plan on stealing your money, or at the very least, when government and regulators come along to people when they approach people who have those admin keys and say, hey, we need you to KYC AML your users, those founders who are not noble, who also have admin keys, they're going to KYC your ass anyway because they never cared about you. They're not looking after their investors. And in many cases, they made their project in a way that does not protect the people who would buy it. And so, our Hex, the coin Hex has no admin keys, and it's finished, and the code's locked, and it's immutable, and it's had two security audits and an economics audit. There is nothing better. Will there be something better? Not for me. I'm an ROI maximalist. I'm a Richard Hart maximalist. If Richard Hart was selling cheeseburgers tomorrow, I would scrape money together and scoop those up too.
That's good. I mean, so we know that Richard Hart is creating other, like, after all Pulse drops, most likely he's going to have other projects. And yes, what I tell people is to really consider what your strategy is. Like I just saw on the stream, Mr. Limon here saying, I don't want to work. Well, what is work, right? Is it a drudging, going back and forth for a paycheck and saying, yes, boss, and kissing ass? Yeah, of course, nobody wants that. However, if you're doing your passion and you're really doing something passionate, then it's not work, right? It's actually a passion project. And now you have the resources to do that passion project. And so, like myself, I retired. I came off of the rat race on October 1st. My wife came out of the rat race on November 1st, which is just recently. Started Freedom TV .info, helped with the tour of Crypto Spabuk. We helped with the meetup in Vegas. So now it's a passion project to me. It's right. That's what we're touting. That's what we're shilling. Rolling up our sleeves. And I was in like the last leg. I know the boys right now, the German boys, Crypto Spabuk, they're going to be doing a workshop in Orlando. That's not work to me. It's like, dude, it's so exciting I was in Albany, New York, Boston. We had a workshop in New York. We had the Hex, the birthday party, the second annual, anniversary of Hex. And we put that together, our team, Freedom TV, and so that the Hexicans can have a place to meet up and to like have a meeting of the minds and really get down and strategize about what to do with their bags, right? I mean, not only like creating ladders and that kind of strategy in the virtual world, but also like in the real world. Like, okay, now I know, like I'm talking to Patrick and Alan, which is Crypto Spabuk, in March, the tour is going to be over. Well, what's next? There's got to be something next, right? So, we're talking, we were talking about getting the conference going and, the 369 meetup in Vegas again. We're organizing that. So I don't know about you, but I'm excited about where we're going as a group, as a community. I'm excited about how some of the passion projects that are going to come out on even on the Pulse chain, new dApps that are going to be on the Pulse chain that are good, they're not chills, they're not rug pulls. I'm excited. If I want to kind of do I hope that Richard Hart can weigh in and say, do the Richard Hart, dApp, top 10, dApps on Pulse chain, to get their blessing, so that so the Hexicans know what's good and not good for them, right? Because I mean, we're not all coders, right? We're not all developers. I'm not. So let's get out there. Let's put the education out there. Let's put the word out.
Can I take a second and tip my hat to you? The work you have been doing, with the meetups and the conventions and the rap, I understand you had a lot to do with the way those cars look, representing our favorite assets driving all over the country.
Great job.
You've done a fucking phenomenal job. It's I'm really proud of you. You and your brother. You have my utmost respect. And when you see Matty Allen, hug that bastard until he can't breathe for me the next time you see him. Love that guy.
Yeah.
We've got the best people in this community, man.
Of course. I mean, we're not here to. I mean, seriously, that the tour is not a money maker. It's a pump maker, right? It's a pumpamental, because that's the only. I mean, every stop we're onboarding 24, 15 to 24, even 30 people per stop. And we're doing a 40. We're doing a 40 city tour. We're on city number 23, 24. They're going to be in Miami next week. We're going to reset in Miami because, it's the holidays and we're going to have some downtime, not being on the road so much, and do a reset. And now we're going to do the south of USA. I'm excited about that because, you got New Orleans, a stop. We got Austin, Texas, Houston, Dallas, San Antonio. That's a big, huge population center that I can't wait to get the word out, because I know my fellow Texans, right? They're a lot of them they're not American, they're not US, they're Texans, right? So, and a lot of them, there are a lot of libertarians out there that want to be out of the system that they call Federal Reserve System. And so I know that they're going to be touting a lot. And so I want to make it a massive meetup in Vegas where, we did a pretty good job in June of this year. In June, the Vegas meetup, the first one, I mean, we had 300 people there. That was awesome. And we're going to make it double. We're expecting, somewhere I'm hoping 600, 700 people for this next one, even more. I know that there's been 274 tickets have been sold at $369. That's all Matty, Matty banging the drum. God bless his heart. He's out there too, promoting I call him his epic streams of 4 or 5 hours, right? With Quant Gang every Tuesday. God bless Discord Syndicate too. I mean, they did this London meetup with Richard Hart. I mean, we got him out of his castle, right? We got him out of his castle, which was great. We inspired him to actually like be live, not on stream, and really have the trust to be in face to face with his own community, right? And if you saw the stream with Kinetics, he said what his proudest thing is the community, the Hex community, which is awesome. I mean, even Kinetics was like, that's a great answer. I love his words. So it was it's pretty amazing. I mean, seriously, if you notice, I'm not in the forefront. I'm in the background. I'm the guy that's picking up, rolling up my sleeves and trying to do the best for the community. That's it, bar none. So, I understand not everybody can be retired right now. I get it. And that's my point. It's like, I want everybody to get retired with Hex one day. And if it's at $5, is it at $10? Is it at $15 that it needs to be for you to decide to retire? That's up to you. That's your own strategy. I cannot tell you when to retire. Everybody came in a different timeline of the project, but at least you're in, right? At least you're in, and when you're in, you're in. And so
Everyone
let's
here.
get excited about that, right? And so it's so amazing. I don't know if anybody's. I know two of you have been to, Casey. He hosted the Napa stop, and Hex-Ray Vision. Thank you very much for hosting the Salt Lake stop. When you saw those new coiners getting their staker app, downloading the staker app, getting their first whatever, $500 or $100, $50 of Hex, there's a twinkle in their eye. There's hope. There's this mechanism, or there's vehicle called Hex that I see a light from at the end of the tunnel. It's really awesome to see. So
yeah, shout out to T-Bird in the chat. Hex is proof of weight. Serve your time and ye shall be rewarded. And then there's some talk in chat about the bugs that we're finding in version 2 of the testnet, which it sounds like the one that I was reading about earlier was the validators were calling each other liars, right? Like one validator was like, here's the number, of the burnt and circulating pulse, and the other was like, no, it's not, it's what I say it is. So it looks like they're all over that, trying to fix that in testnet too. And then let's see here. I don't know. It's interesting you say that, because once you reach this one goal, if you don't set another goal, it's kind of like free falling, right? And that's really why I'm asking Bitfinesse, like, what is your goal, and then what's your next goal, right? Because you can see the fire and determination in his eyes, like
we see something is up,
tenacity.
but we don't know what's up. Like, tell us your broad dream.
Me?
Yeah, if you could wait,
you're like working your butt off right now.
I'm gonna let me tell you guys I figured out what my next goal is right now, because my goal was financial freedom since I was 16 years old, and then I hit it and I was like lost. Tony saw me right after retirement, and did I kind of look a little lost to you?
A little. You were going to go to the deep end. You were like on the edge and like, I'm going to jump. It's over. I was like, yeah, no. Reel him in.
Right. And so the goal I came up with recently was I want 1 million families to be financially free. I want to help 1 million families become financially free. That's my next big overarching goal I want to chase. So that's my next goal. And then we can go down the row, and let's start with Bitfinesse, because the question was addressed to him first, and then we'll just go from there.
Look, a lot of people have seen me say this in the comments. I mean, I'm thinking about every day whether or not I'm joking. I don't think I'm joking. I think I really do want an FA-18 Super Hornet, and I don't want it to cost me more than 1% of my bags. So we'll start there. When we achieve that, we'll set new goals.
So you want an F-18 Hornet, and you want to buy it with 1% of your gains.
Yeah, if I need to sell any Hex, I don't want it to cost me more than 1% of my number of coins. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, great. Casey, what's your goal?
And I don't know if I can beat the F8 Hornet, man. Well, I think my jumping, almost getting off the cliff is soon, so I need to go to T Money and have him smack me around when that time comes. But I think yeah, it's gonna go more philanthropy, and I don't know yet. I'd definitely like to start a nonprofit organization of some sort. In California, we've been hit by all these wildfires, and I work for the county of Napa, so we got hit pretty bad last few years, and so maybe something would be. I have this idea about using the blockchain to donate for trees. So maybe have some like QR code has some type of, so every time you plant a tree, it actually goes on some GIS map. And so anybody who's donating to that organization can actually see where their tree was planted, and it just kind of grows. And so as for presentations for other companies, say, yeah, we spent 100 grand, but here's everywhere that we planted the trees. And you can use blockchain technology for that. So I'd want to do something that's still like I give back to the blockchain community, but also something like that. I don't know. We'll see.
Awesome. I like that idea. How about you, Eco Builder? Eco Builder's he's a visionary man.
Shout out to Hex Foodies Telegram group.
Shout out to Hex Foodies.
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you can get closer. You can get on the mic more if you want. You're a little quiet.
I'm thinking what's happening is it's coming off my computer instead of this mic.
Maybe.
So I realized this morning that I need to add to my dream. And so that's to fund a nutritionist out on the piece of property that I plan on developing. So I use my skills to incorporate permaculture into the landscape. And so designing the landscape, and then use my architecture skills to build on top of it, but start it out as a nutritional retreat so that people, come to know themselves better when it is that they have a problem and they realize and they need to retreat somewhere.
Awesome.
That's my pitch. That's my
so you'd be literally healing people with what you're growing out there, not just like, hey, I want to provide this healthy thing, but have someone there to implement the nutrition that you're creating on your land to go right into a human being and help them.
Over time, it takes a while for the land to come to its full potential, but there at the property, have a nutritionist first, so that there's this understanding of this is what we care about, bringing human beings to the highest level that they can exist.
Awesome. And Tony, what's your goal?
So I'm going to give you my goals and my vision, which is different. Okay. So my short goal is to educate as many people to have their own business. I want every Hexican to have their own business. They have to, because when you're cashing out, you do not want to get bit by the man, right? You want to strategize to make sure that your bags are your bags, and that a lot of people think, oh, don't sell Hex. Well, this is what I'm going to say. You don't want to sell your principal. You want to live off your interest. So you could still live and have a great life. Imagine your interest, just your interest from your T-shares are giving you because you have a monthly ladder. Every single month, you're cashing out $300,000. Just in interest, not in principal, right? Then you're rolling over your principal every 15 years, right? So that's what I want to show people. I want to educate. I want to teach how to fish, right? And get more people to fish, them to get onboarded onto Hex, because it's very important. My vision is to pretty much destroy the Federal Reserve. That's the vision, because the Federal Reserve is gatekeeping everything. Because if you don't think financially, you're not in slavery. You were born in slavery. You were born in slavery. In 1913, about 9 guys said, we're going to enslave the whole world, and it's going to be called the Federal Reserve. And if you don't think that's happening now, you better wake up, and you got to be.
And the people who stood in the way, the people who stood in the way, all happened to be on the Titanic when it went down. Isn't that right?
Yeah, a lot of the people opposing the Federal Reserve were on this boat called the Titanic. I don't know if you guys have heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
But that if you don't, if that doesn't get your conspiracy theory wheels turning, I don't know what does. If you can you read the comment on the screen right now, Tony?
My question is, how do you live off crypto? Of course, we don't want to sell our positions, but I want to live. I would appreciate learning what the new millionaires are doing to maintain positions. Yeah, exactly. So if you say that right now, I mean, last week you bought at the bottom of 13 cents of Hex. You better be buying now a lot of your position and start doing a ladder starting from 15 years down, and do it monthly. Start with your yearly. You want to do 15 contracts of at least 1 T-share each. You want 1 T-share each one, at least.
Which today is about $1,000 if you do the bonus.
Yeah. So you better work hard right now and start planning, and stop drinking booze. Cut the booze, cut costs from your household, cut the cable, you know what I mean? Because all of that, and just look around your house and see what you got laying around that does not serve you, right? And sell it and buy Hex, okay? And then start planning your ladder, your monthly ladder, especially right now, because when you have the doubling, you're going to have a double bag, right? And that's called your principal. So if you put, let's say you just did a yearly ladder, 1 a year on your birthday for $1,000. So that's $15,000 you can lock up today. Okay. So that 15, and you just let it sit. So next year, guess what? You get to choose. You take your interest out and you roll over your principal, all the way another 15 years. And you roll it over the principal. You roll it over. And if you have any more lying around, sure, you want to grab a little bit more. And so then you want to fill in the gaps. You want to start doing your monthlies. And then I would even suggest start doing your weeklies. And so that's how you live on Hex, because every day, every month you would be cashing out with your interest. And by the way, that's what I did. And that's how I got retired.
Don't drop your microphone. That was definitely a mic drop moment, but we want to keep listening to you, so don't.
Okay. So that's one position, right? So let's talk about Pulse. So Pulse, so now that I have a bag, right? So I have not cashed out my principal at all. I still have my principal. It's still there. It's every day I'm getting a dividend based on my T-shares. And so I'm just rolling over my principal over, 15 years every month. I roll it, I cash out my interest and roll over the principal 15 years. So I get more T-shares and more T-shares, right? So now let's talk about Pulse. So I went into the sacrifice phase. So I'm going to get a bag of Pulse. So imagine you cornering the market of the supply. So imagine you are in this, I don't know, cattle, meat, commodity, and you own one of the biggest suppliers of cattle, and you corner the market. So out of the gate, I'm not selling my pulse. Hell no. I'm not selling. I'm probably going to hold about a good year. Okay. After that good year, there's going to be price stability. Okay. After that price stability, then I might, depending if liquid loans do what it says it's going to do. If it doesn't, then my other strategy is this. So one of the things, if liquid loans work the way it's supposed to work, I would leverage my pulse to get the stable coin called the stable coin, whatever it is called.
I
And
think they
then,
called it loan token.
oh, it's the loan token. Okay, so it's a
And
1-to-1, right? It's a stable coin. I would buy more. I would buy PHEX.
oh, sorry. So USDL is the stable coin,
Oh, USDL.
and then the loan token that they're suggesting is the one that where you are the bank and you're
You are the bank.
collateralizing
So you
other
would
people's
stake.
loans.
Yeah, you could stake your loan token, right?
And that one is supposed to be cut in half and be harder to get like T-shares is the
So
idea.
if that works the way it's supposed to work, because it's not out yet. I don't know if the code's out. Don't know. Once I'll check it out. But if it works the way we're supposed to work, I'll leverage my pulse to get more the stable coin and like not cash out, but cash out equity in my pulse, so I can buy more PHEX and do a secondary ladder, weekly ladder, right? And starting from 15 going backwards, that's 320 contracts. And so now your stakes are maturing weekly. And so every week I don't sell my principal. I cash out my interest, I pay back my loan, I get back my pulse. And so that's what I'm leveraging. I'm leveraging. So my positions in PHEX, because that's my long-term bag. I got Pulse, which is my short-term bag. And then if I go into swap, now let's talk about the swap tool, or whatever they're going to call it, right? If I go into sacrifice there, if you want a short gain, Pulse Swap is going to be the place to have a short gain. Because if you look at any of the bridge coins, like Pancake Swap, Sushi Swap, all of the food swaps that came out, every single one of them started at like pennies and it went to dollars, like in a very short amount of time, because it's the one that has to bridge. Okay, I talked about this in the beginning of the stream. If you're in a position to, I mean, if we go back in time, this is where I feel like right now. Imagine you are getting into the phone company. You remember back in the 80s, before there was flip phones, before there was cell phone wireless. I remember there was a time when there was a phone and it was a landline and it was analog. Okay, it was still attached to a cord, right? That's Ethereum. Okay, that's Ethereum. Why? Because it's proof of work. It's attached to hardware, right? Pulse is the wireless network because it's a coin, a network that is proof of stake. We're going to beat 2.0, Ethereum 2.0 to the punch. Don't you want to be on the forefront of technology? Don't you want to invest in the forefront of technology? Right? That's a no-brainer to me. I mean, if you're not excited as me, I don't understand. I mean, you're in La La Land. You got, this is the analogy I tell people. It's like going to you back in time and saying, hey, there's going to be a company called Altel 360, and it's going to have these brick phones, and you don't have to be tied to a cord anymore. What? Yeah, and how it works, check this out how it works. So the cell phone, right? That's the user, that's the MetaMask that you're using, right? It's cordless. You keep the keys. You have a phone number, and that's your phone number. Nobody owns that phone number, right? You remember when you could not have your own phone number? If your contract was over, you had to turn in that phone number to the company, and you're like, damn it, I lost my phone number. That's what the keys are. You want to have and own your own phone number. Okay. So you have the big brick phone, right? And so that's you. Now you have every cell phone tower. If you know how a wireless network functions, you have these cell phone towers in your town, right? And each one is routing that phone call or transaction, right? Or transmission. And of course, I don't know if you remember, but you had to pay back in the day per minute. That's the gas fee. Okay. That's the gas fee. And so who gets that gas fee? It's the validator or the who owns the tower, the cell phone tower. So there's going to be 33 cell phone towers, or if you want to validators, right? And so you want to be a validator as much as possible, right? Or at least stake onto a validator to get those gains of that cell phone tower, right? So that's the opportunity you have today by staking your pulse onto a validator. Now, the bridge or the swap tool, so you can understand, there's got to be a bridge between. This is the swap tool that they're talking about. This is what the new sacrifice phase is. There's got to be a router or a machine, right? A router that takes you from the analog, which is the cordless, the cord one, the analog part, to the digital part. That's the bridge, right? And so now you're investing in that router, and guess what? You get paid every time there's a phone call made on that router going from landline to digital wireless. So guess what? It's the fucking trifecta. You got Hex, right? You got the Pulse, which is the cell phone tower network that you're invested in, and you're in the router, right?
You're up in that router.
You're up on that router. So guess what? You're making money, stupid money. And that's that blows my mind that people don't understand this. What this is all about. It blows my mind. And this is I'm done. If by the way, if any of the coders are out there and they go, it's not like that, Tony. Well, it's fine. I'm just giving you an analogy, right? Comparing different technologies to the opportunity that you have today. Okay.
Well, and when in history have you ever had the opportunity to actually own part of a network? You know, there's been a lot of places where people could invest in a network, right? Through the company or through the stocks. But if you own your keys, you literally own a part of that network. And when Pulse comes out.
Yeah.
That's so powerful. I don't think people are gonna be able to wrap their heads around that until years into Pulse melting faces. And like I was saying earlier, forget you're talking about we're gonna beat ETH 2.0 to the punch. ETH 2.0 doesn't have a prayer of coming out in the next 10 years. It doesn't. I've watched them trip over their own shoelaces since they were born over at Ethereum, right? Mm-hmm. And so if you're one of the 2 or 3 contributing coders over at Ethereum, and you've been trying to get this stupid thing called ETH 2.0 to work for 7 years, or whenever they came out with the idea of it, and all of a sudden you can just go over and reverse engineer and copy half of Pulse's code. Isn't that what you would do? Wouldn't you just go look at the Pulse code and reverse engineer and copy what you can and then call it ETH 2.0? That's been my prediction since the start.
You're right. And it's yeah, and then you have these other shit coins like I mean, I'm going to call it out. Cardano, that's trying to be an Ethereum network. Uh, I'm going to say trying to be, because it's not really. It's all patchwork after patchwork, and barely coming out with their smart contract. With no dApps being built on top of it. It's like trying to. I'm going to say it. It's like trying to get Nextel back up.
No,
Remember
did
the
you see
Nextel?
did you see their announcement?
Who?
Uh,
Cardano?
Cardano, they announced a couple days ago that they're going to try forking the chain, and that they're going to do a system state, that they're going to do some giant airdrop of all the tokens.
Oh,
Now, where in the world do you think they got that idea from?
of course.
Like, everything great or useful in crypto is copied as fast as you can hit Control C, right?
Yeah.
So, do we really think that like Pulse is going to be the first, but it's not going to be the last?
No.
It's worse than that.
Especially when it succeeds.
It's worse than that. I think most people forget that Ethereum, as it stands right now, is still minimum viable product. Vitalik wanted to do staking before Ethereum even existed, but they couldn't figure out how to do it. So it's like, wow, what have they been doing this whole time? Thinking about it, perhaps for some time. But recently, we've seen Vitalik Buterin tweet about how excited he is, how he wants people to use Ethereum for speculation on elections, whatever, to get those transaction turnovers super high. But I think the guys at Ethereum got too rich too fast. Maddie Allen talked about this tonight. Like, those guys, I mean, you go from being like a broke developer, now you've got millions and $1 million. Where's the incentive to finish your product? Like, where is Hoskinson's incentive to actually bring something to market? He's gotten his coin to pump without having anything, without having he's got as much of a product as I do in crypto, like,
Yeah.
it doesn't need to be anything built.
Do you remember bananas on the blockchain during the ICO craze of 2014? It was before the the next to last run up. Anyways, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna track bananas, because don't you want to know where your bananas come from? The answer is no. No one really cares where their bananas come from. But basically, they'd raise $300 million in their ICO. They would give a huge portion of tokens to themselves and the VCs, right? And then they would go down to the Bahamas and spend it all on hookers and blow. And all they had to do to keep people interested in the product was release a couple of cool pictures and graphs and update the white paper. And then, because they had so many tokens, they could pump and crash the price to keep people interested. Like, oh, here we go. The bananas are going to launch. We're all going to be millionaires off this. And it was so I don't know.
It's bananas. Yeah, we know.
It's bananas. BANANAS. That shit is bananas.
Well, getting back to the blockchain,
it's all speculation. It's all always been speculation.
Totally. Yeah.
Right. Getting back to the Ethereum blockchain, the truth is that Vitalik has no control at this point with all the miners. The miners are in control, just like the Bitcoin miners are in control. And so really, maybe there might be a hard fork, but I think what we're really trying to get at here is that there is so much demand for these networks, is that a lot of them are going to be successful regardless. They can have any name, any type, and they're going to be successful because that's how much demand is out there. The Ethereum price is showing that. As far as the gas fees, there's just too much demand. And so Pulse is going to absolutely crush it. It's going to crush it.
and I'm gonna blow your mind. So actually, it's not the miners on the Ethereum blockchain that has the control. It's actually the hardware makers that have the control.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
you
we're
have
the
to
one.
upgrade you had to upgrade your hardware every few often. And so, hey, next year it's going to cost you more, and it's going to cost you more, and it's going to cost you more. And guess who the miners they have to raise the gas fees to make sure that their hardware, right?
Well, if we're really going to be serious about this, you know who really has the control? The users. And so they're going to keep. They're not going to stop charging us more until we say we're fed up and move to a different chain, right? So technically, we're the ones controlling these networks because we're the ones that are still transacting and giving up all that money.
Yeah,
So
in fact,
I foresee Ethereum, the Ethereum network, is going to be just like today, where you have the hardware. You know how old homes, they still have the jacks, the phone jacks, but nobody uses it. That's Ethereum.
Yeah.
I was going to say the manufacturers of the graphics cards actually place limitations on them because they couldn't make the graphics cards enough graphics cards to supply the demand of the miners and supply the demand of actual video game players and computer enthusiasts. And so they, they crippled their own cards so they wouldn't be able to be used for mining, right? And so I've talked to these nerds, and these nerds are part of these hackers, and all the hackers try to do is get these graphics cards to mine again, or to mine more, you know, use more of the capacity of the card. So I mean, like you said, there is a lot going on with the hardware side of stuff as well, you know.
Cool.
I heard hookers and below, so I had to come back. I didn't know whether to run or
Those
come back,
Texans
so.
know how to party.
Yeah, so I'm a Texan as well. Hex Texas is a Telegram group formed for us Texans. If you'd like to join that.
Absolutely, I would. And we're going to be in Texas, so
And
come
so
out, come out and play at the workshops.
it's a great time to start formulating. Yeah. So who have you reached out to organize the convention space or whatever sort of space that you're planning on taking over?
They're in here in Vegas or in
In
Texas?
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, we have most of the workshops are going to be at Marriott's because we have a corporate account for Marriott's. That's
Okay.
where the venues. Those are for the workshops, right? These are for new coiners to come in, bring your new coiners in, and so that the Kareem's going to be on the tour. The Germans, right? The Crypto Schwab, Patrick, they're going to give the workshop. Maddie is jumping in sporadically and giving talks. These are the speakers. Now, for the meetups, because usually we do a meetup beforehand, and that's up to you guys. Like, that's what we want to hear. You can get a hold of, you can email us at iam@freedomtv.info. If you have a suggestion, like to have a nice hangout, the day before, at a bar. It could be at a bar, it could be at your local pub or watering hole. It doesn't matter, right? As long as we can hang out, talk, meet face to face, get the meeting of the minds. For sure, we're doing something we're going to be doing we're organizing already as we speak. I had a meeting about the 369 conference, so that's getting done. So that's going to be off the hook.
Yeah, I bought my ticket right when I understood they were available. And I met you in Vegas, by the way.
Yeah, I remember you.
So out here in the Texas Telegram group, we've got a group of Texans, and so please come out there and give us some inspiration, organization, and we've had one meetup thus far in Dallas about a month ago. It was a good time.
Yeah, what I suggest is at least have a centralized, you know, like maybe a web page or some type of, it could be a Telegram group where people could.
Togosh, are you listening? Togosh, he said webpage. All right, keep going.
Oh, sorry.
There's a guy who's on it.
Oh, good. Yeah, web page, Telegram. It's a form of communication, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can have monthly meetings where you're disseminating, right, good content to your peeps. That's what you want to do. You want to obviously maybe even record some of Richard Hart's greatest hits, right? And disseminate that for especially the new coiners. I would say put on workshops too, like educational workshops. It doesn't have to be like totally like professional and everybody's in a suit and tie. It could be pretty hangout, like a hangout where you onboard. You can onboard people. It's whatever flavor you want. MetaMask or Atomic Wallet or Staker app, right? So you want to walk them through it, right? Walk them through how to onboard. That's the barrier, I feel, to Hex and hopefully not in Pulse, but in Hex right now, because all these big exchanges are gatekeeping Hex. So
yeah,
a lot of people, it is you got to get on them on an exchange, maybe a Coinbase or a Kraken or whatever, right? I'm not into exchanges myself, but it's a necessary evil right now to get people onboarded, right? To convert their fiat into into the crypto world. So what I tell people too is when you onboard them, just buy enough Ethereum for the fees and buy USDC, because then you're not when you're onboarding them, you're not getting this volatility, right, in the Ethereum coin.
Yeah, get into the stable coin.
Yeah, get in the stable coin and exchange that and swap that for Hex. It could be on MetaMask or on Uniswap, Matcha, whatever your flavor it is, right? And so and as a group, decide what you guys want to like tout, right? Like for us, because Staker app is one of our sponsors, so obviously our preference is to put people on Staker app. So we actually, on the workshops, we talk about that. We actually like download the app. There's and we give them time to download the app. We actually have these little cards with the 24 lines, and we give them a hex pen and they write down their own seed words.
That reminds me of a Christmas present that I thought about for Hexicans, where we could have some sort of a form that a Hexican fills out with all like the gifting of seed phrases that are already staked out for 5555. Gifting Hexicanism.
That's awesome. Christmas. Yeah. Right? That is awesome.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. That's what we've been doing. I would say also, like, if we're going to be on in your neck of the woods, get involved. Like, definitely email that iam@freedomtv.info. It goes to me, so I read those emails. So
what I'm saying is that there's 30 people inside this Telegram group, and we're ready for y'all to come to Texas, and I'm ready for you to come to New Orleans and be a part of the caravan.
Absolutely. Just go to freedomtv.info. We have the calendar there. Please RSVP, because we need to know how many chairs to put out. It's a free workshop.
Hey, we were at Vegas last year. We know what it's like to go into filled rooms.
Yes. Yeah, just
sitting outside for a while.
Yeah, because we need to know how many, like how big of a room to get. that would give us, when we see a 50 RSVP, then we know what size of a room to get, right?
I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah. So that's all it is for. It's a free workshop, so you get to meet your favorite streamers sometimes, like Maddie, and in Albany, you get to meet Wales and actually look at his face, what he
Yeah.
looks like,
You
right?
get to see his face.
Yeah. So that's a hoot. So people think he's taller all the time. I thought you were taller.
I thought you were this. I thought you were that.
Yeah.
I will say
This is
that
what I'm telling you.
the
Shout out to Will.
meetups down in the South are much more tempting to go to than the ones in the cold.
Oh yeah.
So like
Definitely.
the idea of coming down to New Orleans and Austin, I like those ideas. And you were saying that most of these are going to be on the weekend, right, Tony?
Yes.
Towards the end of the tour.
Yeah, they're going to be weeklies. So, and they're going to be, usually it's on Saturdays. So, and we usually, the workshops is on Saturday, the meetups on Friday night hangout. Saturday in the daytime, usually it's from 3 to 5 your time, right? So that you can have and then afterwards they go, most of the time they go and hang out at a bar, or maybe they're at the lobby. They usually have a bar. They're at the lobby. So, and then you guys can hang out and do whatever, even the guys have invited the people straight to the Airbnb, right? And hang out at the Airbnb and, smoke a bud, Well, I don't know if it's legal in Texas yet, but
We won't talk about that.
okay.
I don't know if you guys are keeping up with the Chuck Norris and Yo Mama jokes in chat, but Rax says there's no chin behind my beard, just another fist.
All right.
So someone earlier talked about laddering their stakes. They said they gave advice in the chat about laddering stakes, but they didn't say whether to ladder it forward or backward.
I would say
You could do both.
It's your strategy, right? So
Start with the last one first, right?
Yeah, because you get more t-shirts that way, right? You get more t-shirt preservation.
Yeah.
So now if you're a 60-year-old or a 70-year-old, that's a different story, right? That's up to you. Your 15-year stakes, that's going to go to those are legacy stakes going to your children, your grandchildren. Your short-term stakes are now, what's nice is that if we're going to do a ladder that way, if you're older, in the older crowd, if you're in their 40s, what you can do is those 15-year stakes can be shorter, like less money. So instead of doing $1,000,
I see.
you can do $500, right, and spread it out a little bit more. Why? Because you're going to have more time to mature. So there's going to be a lot more accumulation phase. And then you could do your 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, up to 5 year. Those can be like $5,000 one, a $4,000 one, a $3,000 one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can get more t-shirts in the short term. So, yeah. What the hell?
Rags Rich says Chuck Norris pees his name in the snow. Rags Rich's pees his name in concrete.
Okay.
Going back to what Tony was just saying,
color.
A lot of people, maybe not everybody has $1 million to invest or even $1,000 to invest, but we all have time, right? Mm-hmm. And once Pulse Chain comes out and you're not losing everything to the fees, you can start out with $20 to your name and use and leverage the next 15 years of your life to really turn that investment into something real and something useful.
Yeah, remember it's all about soak time, right? So I know in the Hex community it's really popular for people to say to do your 15-year stakes first, and then 13, and then 11, and work your way back. But you could do your 15-year stakes as many as you can tolerate, and then right after that you can make your shortest stake, and then alternate between making your short stakes go out further, alternate between doing those and more 15-year stakes. Because if you do just go all the way down, start with your furthest stakes and then just work your way back, by the time you get all the way to where you are, you're going to have no soak time for that last stake. So it is a balance between nabbing up as many t-shirts as you can versus having capital available in the short term. So it might not be a bad idea, depending on your age and your time frames, to do your longest stakes, as many of those as you can, and then your shortest stake, and then alternate between very long and then very short stack, so that they meet in the middle. And then, as T-Money perfectly described earlier, if you get to a stake that's maturing and you don't need it, you can throw your principal to the end of your 15-year, or you can throw it all at the end of your 15-year, and you should have a stake coming the next year or the next couple of years. But the fact that the user has all of the choice, all of the choices, all of the freedom, it's beautiful. It does present a problem in that most things don't give the end user this many choices. But that's something I've always said is a major, the only problem we have in Hex is that Hex is too good, and I stand by that. It gives you all the freedom, all the options. It can be overwhelming, but that's what makes it valuable.
Yeah, that's why I
Rags
staked
Riches
15
says
years.
there's never been a hurricane named Brandon, because if there was, there'd be nothing left.
Let's go, Brandon. So earlier, somebody, let's see, what were they talking about? They were talking about like their strategy of staking, and they were wanting to know other people's strategies of staking. And I guess because I'm willing to tell you my strategy, I went out long, and I probably did quite a few long ones, and then I did yearly shorter ones, and then I went in and dibble dabbled every 6 months. I put a stake. So I always have something coming in the fall and in the spring. And now I'm putting my principal out into the future 15 years every time I come to it. So then I constantly have something coming every 6 months.
That's a good one. Yeah, for me, it was I think about everyone has a different psychology, right? And once I finally got that 15-year stake out of the way, everything else just kind of like, okay. And so I did 3 big stakes within the 5 years. So 15, 10, 7, and 5. 7 was kind of an interesting one because you think that regardless of what happens with Hex, right? I mean, you can think there's going to be a lot of people that are willing to emergency unstake if things just get insane, right? So that's probably going to be a sweet spot of a year for all the interest or yield. But yeah, and then a big stake that rolls over annually, right? So, but I think that starting with the long one, the 15-year one, getting that out of the way and proving yourself that you can see that far into the future, it really just kind of set up all the other stakes for me.
So after the initial work, then the diligence and decision making that you're going to do that, you come back once a year in order to harvest and send forward. Cool.
Yeah.
You got a shout out to Funding Jim in the comments.
Yeah.
Told him to jump on stream if he's got
Yeah, you
time.
should jump on.
Gary.
Be a pleasure to have you on.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the grayscale. I don't know. Is he part of that? The grayscale Hex thing? I don't know.
I'm not sure. I'm sure if he's part of that. Rag says Chuck Norris doesn't stake T-shares. T-shares staked Chuck Norris.
Little cheese shares running after Chuck. He stares him down.
Yeah, I would love to sit down with someone involved with the grayscale or the the hedge and just let them talk about what it's like to set up something like that, because it's so foreign to me, that kind of big money stuff. He says you got to be staked out for at least you have to be staked out at least 8 years. So many people will not be able to resist the emergency end state of their 15-year stakes.
Yeah, I mean, the price of a T-shirt is just going to go completely astronomical. It's going. I mean, people aren't going to be able to afford a T-shirt in, a few years. And a few years past that, really, very few people are going to be able to afford a T-shirt. You might. I mean, it might not be too much longer before you have to sell a country to get a T-shirt, but we're probably going to see the day where you have to sell a planet to get a full T-shirt. It's going to go in. Oh, hey, do you guys want to hear this? I've been thinking about this. I think this is completely right. You know how a T-shirt used to cost 60 cents, right? 60-cent T-shirt. A year and a half past that, give or take, a T-share was paying out 60 cents worth of hex per day, right? This was just a few months ago, before we had this real big run-up. If that repeats, let's say, I mean, the T-shirt was as high as $9,000, as low as $2,000.
Logarithmically, like ratio-wise?
In
You know what I mean?
dollars.
Like, okay.
So let's say a T-share a few months, like right now, a T-share, it costs around like $3,000, right? Well, if in a year and a half from now, or even if it takes twice as long, if in 3 years from now, since a T-shirt costs $3,000 now, if a T-shirt is paying out $3,000 worth of hex per day, and the payout is still like 5.8 or 5.7, that's going to put the price of hex. You divide 5.7 into 3,000. That's going to put the price of hex at $517 or something like that. If a T-shirt pays out a year and a half later or a few years later, its current cost.
Yeah, we do got Funding Jim joining the stream here.
What's up, Gary? Good to see you, man.
Yeah,
Hi,
so I'm off camera just because it's like 2 a.m, here, but definitely an interesting conversation. I always like these kinds of streams, not that it's hype cycles and things like that. It's just kind of you guys talking out the game theories. I really like the calm, collected kind of game theory conversations when you have a pool of people that have been involved with Hex, seeing it play out. They've seen the FUD and the FOMO cycles. They've seen the power of a T-share. That's really, you guys are really the references I point other people, to come check out. So I'm really glad you could do it in the stream.
Cool.
Yeah, thanks for stopping by. I was surprised that we got Bitfinesse, out of the wild and into a stream.
Yeah.
I thought that's gold right there, and then it's just got better and better. I mean, except for Rags to Riches, it's been nothing but class.
Except for that guy. Yeah, Bitfinesse, again, I remember, more than a year ago, all these conversations from a 18-wheeler, from the cab of an 18-wheeler. It's just really good to see him again on stream.
Yeah, I remember the first time.
Yeah. I wanted to say something also. You guys, this new streamer, I guess he's been around for some time, but he's really making some great content. K4K. Have you guys been paying attention to K4K's pulse theory kinds of content recently?
I've been retweeting his stuff and his links, but I haven't had a good chance to sit through his streams. Tell us more about him.
Yeah, I think he's tied in pretty well with a lot of the devs that are creating pulse chain specifically. So he's more than just he's almost like a combination of a David Feeder, because he knows a lot of the dev stuff, and he just pays micro attention to everything that Richard says or anybody that makes commentary, and I think he's really good about like game theory analysis. he started. He's on Twitter. I mean, he's got like less than 1,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel. I mean, I could put a link somewhere, but he's also started recently a Telegram room, and it's not really for you to go ask about like, you know, how to make sure your coins show up in your wallet or how to set the RPC and things like that for MetaMask. It's not that kind of stuff. It really is just the game theories behind Pulse Swap, Pulse chain itself, the main token economics. It's really just really interesting tokenomics. He really goes through, and there's probably about 50 or 60 people in there. So I've been really enjoying listening to his content recently.
That's
His
awesome. I
titles
just
have game theory in them. It's interesting. His
I just put
yesterday's
his link
video
up here.
was 2,500. I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. 2,500 on yesterday's video. Today's video was 8 hours ago with 500 views. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just saying I put his link up here in the chat and on the screen on YouTube.
I think he's an interesting guy. I think he's done some longer rants, and basically on his Twitter, whenever you do a poll, he'll do a poll, and you know, whoever like wins that poll is the content he'll generate next, and it basically is just kind of, you know, ruminating over the topic for a bit, and then, you know, creating content. And there's a lot of us that we're good cheerleaders and stuff like that, but, you know, we're also busy with lots of other things going on. So like talking about the game theory about what's going to happen next, I think he's pretty focused on it. I think he's pretty great. I like it.
That's awesome. It comes straight from the community.
Yeah.
Hey Gary, what other kind of content do you think is still needed out there from your perspective? I mean, what's, you know, if we have a pie chart, you know, what's needed more out there from your perspective?
Well, I mean, again, the demographics are growing. You know, I used to think that the demographic of a Hexican was, you know, like a 25 to 35 is really the main and male underneath the bell curve, right? And, you know, certain economic, you know, where they're at, you know, they have some money to throw towards something. Maybe they're entrepreneurial, maybe they just work a shitload of hours, you know, but basically they're willing to speculate, but they do it in kind of a reasoned way. I always think about that as like the core Hexican personality template. And I'm seeing that broaden out. I'm seeing people that are, you know, super high net wealth, you know, kinds of people in Hex. I mean, they come from legacy stuff. They've only gotten in crypto 5 or 6 weeks ago. You know, they're not in very long. It's not like they've ever gone through a bear cycle or a bull cycle. They haven't been paying attention. They really don't know what an NFT is. You know, Ethereum, you know, they have to explain what Ethereum is. So they're very newbie, right? But they are also savvy enough that they've seen trends in other marketplaces and other asset classes, and they recognize that cryptocurrency is obviously a super growing trend, and, you know, they're trying to be reasonable about how they approach it. So I think that the content that's out there, you guys being reasoned, conversation, you know, there's all kinds of excitement and hype cycles and events and things like that, but just reasoned about the long term is really attracting to the big money and the long term investor mentality. You know, it's not that this is a fad. This isn't, you know, wingtip shoes and bell bottoms. You know, this is something that's going to have staying power. And, you know, I've even recently been more open to NFTs. I know that can sound like it's a curse word inside of the Hex community because of Richard's stance on it. But I really have been listening more to Gary Vaynerchuk and a lot more about the utility and why people are adopting them. You know, yes, there's the speculation element. Yes, there is the wash trading of one person selling an NFT from one wallet they control to another wallet that they control. It's the same sort of thing that happens in the real art world, if you want to call it real art world. That happens too, right? So that price thing is different, but I can still see, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk recently is talking about, you know, NFTs gobbling up what a receipt is, you know, and he was talking with someone that was asking, hey, I'm a personal trainer, you know, I charge $150 a session. How do I how do I benefit from NFTs, right? And he wasn't saying you should speculate on NFTs. He was saying, what you can do is you can, charge your fee, but also instead of giving a receipt to them that's only a regular receipt, part of your off time is to find emerging artists, find someone that is creative, and then support them by generating an NFT. And then that NFT, they will get a percentage of every time that NFT trades, and so will you. So you'll basically get residual income if that artist blows up. So your receipt to your client for you having done a training session of your exercise, this guy wants to be more fit and you're a trainer, because your part-time gig is searching out emerging artists that are interesting and creative. If that artist becomes popular, you monetize your time over every time that the NFT trades, right? So those kinds of thoughts I haven't thought about before. I've kind of poo-pooed, just like a lot of people. What's the value of an NFT? It's a serial number loosely associated with the server. Maybe you can't see it. There's all those narratives about what can break about an NFT. But also, Gary was also commenting recently about, the blue check mark on Twitter. What's that worth? What's the 9 million followers that he has on Instagram worth? Well, they're just displays. They're displays of influence, right? They're displays of status. And he argued, someone was arguing, well, you should have tangible things instead that are in your house instead of digital things. And he said, well, that seems to make sense, but, the world can't see what's inside my house. And they can't see that I have proof of wealth or proof of waste or whatever you want to call these displays of money, right? But they can see the NFT. And, if they do want to do due diligence, they can see the provenance. So I used to be more negative about NFTs. And with the opening of Pulse Chain and Pulse Swap and, enticing adoption and basically, moving over some of the population of Ethereum to Pulse Chain, we have opened up more as Hexicans about what we will comment positively about, right? Crypto Panda just did a stream, and I was just listening to him a little bit ago. It's the same thing. He got some pushback over talking about Pulse Doge or talking about, some other thing that, is probably going to be on the Pulse Chain network. And, I can understand why we become a little bit maxi as OGs. We've seen what works and we try to prevent other people from getting wrecked, and we want them to be involved with the things that's worked for us as well. And I'm just being a little bit more open about like what the value plays are going to be outside of just degenerate trading in the crypto market space, because now Hexicans really are VC. We're VC for a lot of these things that are going to launch on Pulse Chain, and we need to be good stewards of our influence and of our funds and hope to grow it for others too.
Awesome. Now, you replied to a tweet of mine. I was talking about how Rags to Riches said every Hexican should have their own YouTube channel because every Hexican is going to relate to a different audience out there and have an opportunity to bring people into our community. And the bigger our community gets, the stronger we get, the more talented we get. And you replied that you really like the idea of people coming on and talking about something that's not necessarily crypto related off the bat or all the time, but then also having like a Hex logo in the background, or just mentioning, hey, I was able to restore this car partially thanks to Hex, Hex crypto, check it out. And then the rest of the video could just be about them restoring a classic car or whatever it is that they're into. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, Hexo will probably say the same thing. Hexologist that you guys watched for all of the AA, one of the reasons that I think that he streamed is because I kept, begging him to make a stream about how to make thumbnails. And that was really the crux before he started streaming about Hex. We used to be inside the Telegram, and, there wasn't that many people inside of the Hex Telegram at that time. And every so often he would pop up with an interesting thumbnail, and I would be like, hey man, can you, I want to learn how to do that, but it'd be better than teaching just me. Why don't you just make a YouTube channel and make content about how to make thumbnails, And he would say things like, well, I'm not very good. And it's, that took a lot of time. And I don't know if I really want to create a stream about how to make thumbnails, but because I don't know if I want to take that on, right? He's a family man, but he did do it, and I remember paying him. I regret it now to a degree, but I've paid him 50,000 hex or 100,000 hex or whatever, and just for him to create thumbnails for me back in the beginnings of hex. And so that kind of stuff, I think at the time it was like the same as paying $20 or whatever it was. So everyone should be creating content. You are going to need to be a brand in the next, within the next 2 to 3 years. It doesn't matter if you're in crypto or not. You're going to need to be some kind of digital space representative, whether it's drop shipping as a ROI or a cash flow kind of business, whether it's influence of, affiliate marketing of some sort. Why don't you build your brand? And if your brand or your content that you enjoy making, that you like, you say, hey, I'm going to go through the work of figuring out how this camera and this sound thing works, and make sure that I publish it, or at least it's got to pay for itself so I can pay an editor to do the stuff I don't want to do, right? As far as generate content, then just shoot it. You see so many channels that have huge followings. One of them is like the hydraulic press channel, and all they do is fucking crush stuff. That's all they do. They're entertaining. They're a Swedish couple. They're fun to watch, and they just go out and buy a bunch of stuff at the store and they crush it, and it's entertaining for some reason. ASMR channels and all that stuff. So create content, and you can have your backdrop. I mean, Hex-Ray Vision's backdrop, that's just a lead in. Your StreamYard having the logos, that's just a lead in, right? And people eventually are curious about, how are you doing this? Well, my full-time job, you can even not monetize it, and you can comment inside of your YouTube videos, hey, I don't have to monetize this because I'm already retired. Oh, really? How are you retired? Oh, I do T-shares and I do Hex stuff. So this is my hobby. I don't need to monetize you. I don't need to, because you have to have a shitload of views to actually make money off of YouTube, as far as just like them putting ads in front of your audience, right? Getting in between you and your audience. So just make content, learn it from other people. There's plenty of us. I remember more than a year ago making that same kind of commentary a lot on a lot of channels that we were streaming on. Just make, like RG3 is restoring a classic Volkswagen bus or whatever. I've restored a 1946 bus in the past. So there's all kinds of content you can just generate because you're curious about it, or it's part of your recreation or your stress relief or whatever of life, and just make content about that and have it as a backdrop that Hex is part of your life too.
Yeah, totally.
Awesome.
And
We're go ahead, Davin.
And if your talent is in marketing, the more the merrier.
Yeah. Everybody wants to learn how to make money on the internet. Everybody does. And you can just say, hey, I'm going to teach you how to be a woodworker if you're a woodworker, and say, this is how you make a wooden bowl, by with a lathe or some whatever, do stuff like that, and just say, this is how I'm doing it, and you'll get an audience. Ryan Lopez, everybody knows Ryan Lopez, I think. And Ryan, he was making content early on about Hex and about his staking ladders and ROI on different products and projects. And he has, actuarial kind of mind. He's worked inside of life insurance type of stuff for a long time before he retired. And then his channel was growing, but it was growing basically kind of like an echo chamber with other people interested in Hex content, because that's what he was generating. And then he started making like a travel channel that was nothing to do with Hex. He just wanders around South America and, goes to festivals and, sees interesting parts of the country and dates pretty women. And he puts it on YouTube, and he's got a bigger following because of his travel channel than he does over his Hex content. But he's always saying in there, hey, I'm in Hex, I'm in cryptocurrency. That's why I'm retired. That's why I can do this. And I think your audience can grow because it's outside of that echo chamber of cryptocurrencies.
Awesome. Now we're at 3 hours here. I couldn't have asked for a better stream. I've really enjoyed all of you. I'm so glad that Bitfinesse and Casey, Davin, Tony, Dave, when he gets done with his load, you can come check this back. There was one other redhead, and I can't recall who that was. So,
I'm actually
anyways, if he
ginger. I know I don't look like it because I'm like one of those like Highland Scotch gingers, but I am a ginger. And Hexray Vision, I love what you're doing. You're bringing in new people and answering their questions on stream. That's it. It's a lot of fun to watch because it reminds me of. I mean, I talk to new coiners all the time, but I don't follow up with them a whole lot. Often they reach back out to me, and that's great. But you're taking that to a whole new level. It's a lot of it's a lot of fun to hear these people and their concerns and what issues they're having. It's a great reminder for all of us. And Davin, I watched that stream where you had MT Planes, I think is his name, and you guys are talking about what do you call them? Wood fire rocket stoves. I spent 2 days dissecting diagrams for those things, and that gentleman with the ink and burn shirts, man, that is phenomenal. Your stream is a lot of fun, man. And Quarter Panda, please buy some damn tamales from that kid, dude. He deserves it. Good God. It's time for me to go do my burpees, guys. I gotta bounce. Gary,
go take care of that
stream
back.
with you guys. It's been a true pleasure. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor to grow inside this community with such fine people as yourselves. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great seeing you, man. Good to see you, man, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, everyone, have a great night, and we'll keep up together with we're the community that can't be stopped, right?
Absolutely.
And like I said, I'm out to reach 1 million families, about to help 1 million families get financially free so they can do all the cool stuff that we've been talking about.
I love it.
So thanks again, guys. Everybody. You guys have a wonderful night.
Adios. Pleasure.
Good night.
Bye.